Welcome back to the channel, everyone, and I guess you're in for an interesting video. This is the video from, I think his name is Mujin. I could be pronouncing that wrong. Basically, they make, not crazy, they make deep dive documentaries into various internet things and potentially drama. Anyway, primarily this one is focusing on PirateSoftware, and it's a deep dive into the violent unraveling of PirateSoftware from industry icon to glorified local. I can never say that word right. Anyway, I never watched Pirate. I vaguely knew of Pirate due to various things on Twitch, you know, certain records and whatnot, some controversies around that, etc. I also knew of the Stop Killing Games movement to a degree. Now, I don't necessarily care too much about that as much. From the business aspect of it, I understand why companies would want to shut games down that are live service. If they're not making money, then they're going to basically turn them off. Now, if you can get the key you buy, your digital key for whatever game you buy that's a solo player game, that should never be, revoked, right? However, if it requires a server, I'm pretty sure when you buy the game, there's a TOS that tells you that if once they deem it unprofitable, then they will shut it down and you're shit out of luck. And I know they're trying to, make it so they extend it at least longer in Europe to a degree, but I doubt in the US these companies they're basically you will not win in court. Not in the US. They're way too fucking powerful in most cases. And they would all band together for that. So I don't directly agree with what Pirate thinks, but from a business standpoint, I doubt the Stop Killing Games movement will succeed. At least outside or inside the US. It could succeed in Europe because Europe has better laws in that regard. But we'll see. Now, they did at least get the petition and everything signed because of this nonsense. Overall, though, it's going to be an interesting video. And I can't just bash Pirate like everyone else because I don't really know him. But even with the stupid shit he says, I'm more neutral, I guess, in this case. So just keep that in mind. Anyway, enjoy.
The bigger they are, the harder they fall. And that phrase is perfect to describe when a massive content creator gets into controversy bad enough to end their career. But when it comes to PirateSoftware, he wasn't just a big content creator. He was...
did he? Okay. I want to see this real quick. Actually, let's watch part of this real quick.
Someone who managed to blow up from 13,000 subscribers all the way to 1.1 million in less than 2 months.
That's pretty fucking good. My biggest jump was from the neuro stuff, and that was like 2,000 subscribers over the course of 3 months. But then again, I have now Social Blade isn't very useful. But it can do some very, generic, I guess, info. He's still got 1 million followers effectively on Twitch. Sure. Okay, so look at this. So he's losing followers, right? But these numbers are low in general. Like at the 900,000 mark, let's say he's losing 10,000 over the last 15 days, right? Oh, I can't even check that because I don't have I'm not going to sign up for this, right? He's still probably making plenty of money. We're assuming, by the way, that he's not Like, he's not hemorrhaging money or accounts. Like, he's definitely got a following still, right? Let's see here. I don't know if his YouTube stuff matters. Does he have stuff on YouTube? He probably uploads VODs to YouTube. Okay, so he's lost 60K accounts in the last 30 days. But he's got, 2 billion views. Plenty, only 1,200 videos, Yeah, that's a good chunk of views. Well, that's the thing. Yeah, I mean, like, tons of people lose half of their viewers and followers on Twitch, but that's irrelevant as long as you're big enough. As long as you're big enough, people eventually forget. And even if they don't, right? So, like, at minimum, he's earning $29, and that's assuming per day, by the way. This is his YouTube videos, not his Twitch stuff. Twitch is totally irrelevant. But yeah, inactive follower, like, I have probably about 2,000 inactive followers on my YouTube, give or take. And a lot of people subscribe and just never unsubscribe to anything. That's it. It's totally irrelevant. Same with followers. He could have bought followers for all I know, and that's totally irrelevant. Like, apparently a bot hit our channel with 100 followers or something in that general area, and that's kind of random, right? But like, I assume that happens more often than not, right? Okay, so yeah, so if he's holding 2 to 4K on his live streams, there's enough people who don't give a shit about any of this stuff that's going on, and they just like listening to him. If you're holding that many on live streams in general, that's totally fine. There's nothing wrong with that. And yeah, maybe he's a shit person in some ways, but a lot of people don't give a fuck. But like, his channel is easily making between $189 and okay, so let's say the average is probably half of that, right? His channel could be easily making $2,000 a week on YouTube, not including Twitch. Okay? So that's like, and that, even if he has, like 50 subscribers, which he's probably got a lot more than that, he's still making a fuck ton of money. Where are we? So, a lot of, oh, here we go. So a lot of people are like, he's going to lose so much money. I mean, comparatively, he might lose $10,000 a month, but if he knows how to save anything at all, and he hasn't been hemorrhaging money buying shit, that's not a problem. After a certain point, you can make $10 a week on your channel and be totally fine if you have enough savings from other gigs.
Taking over the YouTube Shorts algorithm at some point, and even making over $50,000 in one Twitch stream. However, he also managed to lose all of that just as fast. His actions didn't just make him unlikable, but it exposed him.
I mean, he could still be a
brand
shit person.
And as a person, making people realize that they had subscribed to him over lies or exaggerations, and that he never showed his true self until now. You've no doubt somehow heard about this already. So many people are talking.
Oh, I heard he was like absolute shit at coding. Doesn't he own like a video game of some kind or something like that? He has like a very specific game on Steam. I assume it was probably like ratioed out of hell, but yeah, I've heard about the Blizzard shit. That's pretty funny. I guess he was like a game tester or something.
Talking about him because it's that much of a crazy story, and so I thought of making a video going back to the first ever incident and how it led us here today. So without further ado, let's do this. All right, so the first question to even ask here is, where the hell did PirateSoftware even come from?
Yeah, I mean, so not everyone's going to have a good game, but my guess is he thinks his game is amazing. Is that kind of how it works? Like, he believes he has a much better game than he, like, tears down other game devs? If that's the kind of personality he has, I can kind of see where a lot of people would just be like, fuck you. Okay, yeah, exactly. Okay. So he thinks he's basically God's gift to indie development, or in his mind, still better than other creators he's putting down. Got it.
Well, he created his channel in 2016. And while his channel would grow over the years, it would do so in a very slow manner, reaching
Which is normal for a lot of people.
subscribers after 7 years.
I mean, okay. So we're actually a little ahead of schedule on that. We're at 7,050 subscribers, give or take, on the YouTube channel. I just started streaming, but 7,000 subscribers on YouTube, and it's been about a year and a half, probably almost 2, which is pretty good. But then again, I have a reaction channel, so reaction channels are generally easier to grow your base versus actually creating real content. Yeah, you can put any thing into the Discord. Go ahead.
But then, at the end of October 2023, he would take a decision that would change his life forever. And that would be uploading highlights of his Twitch streams as YouTube Shorts. These were such an incredible success that for a while they took over the YouTube Shorts algorithm. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised at all if a huge...
Okay, that explains why he could get billions of views. That means his view counts are going to be all over the fucking place, because how YouTube counts Shorts views. Now, what's interesting now is YouTube changed the way Shorts are counted recently. So even if someone sits there and accidentally leaves the video on loop for like 20 times, it'll actually count them as 20 separate views. But it won't count them as like ad views. Like the ad view is basically counted once, but the actual view count is counted multiple times for whatever reason. So it gives you kind of that weird false sense. But for instance, if you're trying to earn like, YouTube status or whatever, or monetization, you still got to get your 10 million or whatever fucking separate views.
Portion of you watching this video right now came across these shorts on your own time.
I have heard of
Heartbound.
Heartbound.
Speak for themselves, with tens of millions of people being exposed to his channel for the first time and liking it. But how did he manage to do that when so many others couldn't? Well, many different shorts actually share the same factors. All you have to do is just watch one to understand the appeal. This short right here, titled Social Engineering, has every single one of these factors combined. So let's take a look at it and then I'll explain. Watch.
So when I worked at Blizzard, I had to do a social engineering task where I had to hit customer support, and I had to get 50 questions answered. And let me tell you, I got my questions answered. I shouldn't have. That was the problem. They're not supposed to answer those. And one of the things that I found that was really interesting is people that had been there for 1 year were really, really hard to trick. But people that had been there for 5 years were really easy to trick. What have we learned? We've learned that training is the issue. Everybody that actually worked at the company...
I mean, the way he does the shorts and how it's like split like that would easily draw a ton of people in. I could totally see people watching that because you split the viewpoint. And, okay, so even if you hate him, right? His voice is not like hard to listen to. It's easy enough to listen to that people would be like, oh, okay, cool. This sounds great. I can listen to this on like repeat and whatnot. Even if he's like a shit person in general, right? But overall, it's got a lot of crazy stuff going around on the bottom. It's perfect for people who have limited attention spans.
company got training in their first year, and then they never got training again. So they became complacent, exactly. The director of CS came, and he said, I want the names. And I said, I'm not giving you the names. You're just going to fire those people. And he goes, I'm going to go to your boss. I was like, do it. My boss is like, you got the names? I was like, yeah. And he goes, you going to give them to him? And I was like, no. And he goes, he's not.
Okay, so I guess if he was like a game tester, this is probably just a flat-out lie. And, I mean, I guess the question is, how often did he lie on stream? In general, it may not matter, because a lot of streamers lie to protect safety and whatnot, right? So, as a streamer, I can definitely see people lying, because if you tell people too much of a truth, it becomes actually pretty dangerous for you in certain ways. I'm not necessarily saying that, like, him lying could be shit in a lot of ways, but if it's entertaining for a lot of people. A lot of people probably, in general, don't give a shit. A lot of people who actually fucking care about this will just unsubscribe from him and be done with it. That's what I would do. I'd be like, oh, I don't like you anymore. Unsubscribed.
I'm not going to give you the names, bud. And then I sat down and was like, look, I'm not giving you the names, because if I did, you'd fire all of these people that are your best employees, the ones that have been here the longest.
Well, at that point, why wouldn't he have been just fired, right?
And in 4 years, you will have the exact same problem with the people that are newbies right now. The issue is not the employees, it's your training regimen. I sat down with him, we created a new 6-month training regimen. And guess what? I went back about a year later, did the same thing. All those people passed with flying colors. Not a single one of them answered my questions.
Well, there you have it. The deep voice, with the confidence and eloquence in his speech, as well as the whiteboard he was drawing on at the bottom that was meant to soothe any attention span issues Gen Z might have, was the perfect combination.
Yeah, I mean, like, if I'd just been watching a random fucking short and this came up on screen and I had no idea who the fuck this guy was, I probably could watch 50 of his videos in a row just because of how it's kind of like set up. It'd be like listening to The Click, right? If you're just like, The Click has that perfect fucking radio style voice that you could just, he could be talking about a fucking mango in detail and you'd sit there and listen for a solid hour and be like, where the fuck did the time go? And PirateSoftware's kind of got that deep voice that people like to just listen to, regardless of whether or not anything he's saying is true or not.
Additionally, this story made him out to be a genius, but not just any genius, a noble genius who saved 8 employees from losing their jobs by standing up to the evil boss.
Yeah, it was probably an absolute bullshit lie, but who cares? I mean, a lot of people don't give a fuck.
And where did that boss work? At some unknown company? No, he worked at the grand, prestigious video game company, Blizzard.
Is Blizzard really grand and prestigious in any way? I mean, they're just a normal fucking tech company, just like anyone else. And they do the same shit all other fucking tech companies do.
Entertainment. Yes, that's right. This guy right here, talking in such an amazing, eloquent tone, worked at Blizzard Entertainment. And that's something he would make sure to mention any chance he got.
Yeah, that's true. From what I understand is he constantly said he worked at Blizzard, which is hilarious.
When I worked at Blizzard, I did that for Blizzard. Blizzard.
But like, okay, let's say you pull up 1,000 videos from me, right? I don't know how many times I've told people I worked as a carpet cleaner. So you could easily pull and put everything into a random thing of me just telling you the same story about when I was cleaning for some random idiot in Pebble Beach. Yeah. The same flesh. Right, yeah. So I mean, like, this is devil's advocate here. The only thing about nonsense like this, when you string together a video, like a drama, like deep dive kind of video, and you string together a bunch of like mini clips of something someone said a bunch of times, is you can make anyone look like shit just by doing that. Do you know how many times Jeff has mentioned carpet cleaner? A lot. Do you know how many times he's mentioned this stupid hat made of flesh? A lot. Anyway, it's made of silicone. Which is irrelevant, but I brought it up a bunch of times. And you could easily just pull a bunch of fucking clips of that over the course of, and he's got 1,200 videos, right? And these are potentially 1,200 streams. At some point, you're just going to keep repeating yourself on certain things, because that's just kind of how it works. Now, did he work at Blizzard in whatever the fuck category he said he did? Maybe, maybe not. Does it matter?
7 years, yeah. Blizzard. I used to work at Blizzard Entertainment.
Anyway, we'll get back to that later in the video. But for now, all you have to understand is that these shorts were extremely effective. PirateSoftware had gone from 13,000 subscribers to 1 million before the year even ended. That's 2 months, going from 13,000 to 1.1.
Okay, to be fair, with shorts, you can easily get a lot of subscribers. The problem, though, is if they only watch your shorts, they're not going to translate into your long-form content very well. You might get a few long-form content stuff here and there, but the average is you're not going to be getting that many from your shorts, but that may not matter. The big thing is it gives your channel more authority on YouTube, and it will push your long-form content to much further lengths far quicker. So that's the big thing about having more subscribers.
Million. And over time, his shorts have racked up almost 2.3 billion views. A massive, astounding achievement.
Okay, so there we go. So the majority of his views are going to be his shorts versus his long form. Now, the question is, how much does he actually make money-wise on the shorts? Probably, like, they only pay, a couple of cents per 1,000 short views versus, long forms, you're looking at upwards of $5 per 1,000 views. I mean, he's still got 73 million views. My channel only's got, like, maybe 750,000 long form views. So he's still, like, obviously killing my channel, but my channel has only made maybe total like $2,000. And yeah, he's probably earned a decent chunk on his YouTube channel, but it's not as much as people might think based off of only 2 billion short views. So now this is obviously YouTube specific potentially. I don't think this is showing Twitch stuff. Twitch doesn't care about that type of stuff. But his Twitch stuff blew up as well. So if you're holding 4,000 fucking concurrent viewers, you're making way more on Twitch than you are on YouTube.
Achievement in such a short amount of time. But YouTube wasn't the only platform that benefited. I mean, these shorts were highlights from his streams. So
also TikTok potentially. So maybe he was uploading to TikTok as well. I mean, if you're smart and you have a ton of like short stuff, you should be uploading to TikTok, Odyssey, fucking YouTube, Kick. Just upload to everything at once. Why not?
Of course, people went to those streams to see the real thing live. And so his Twitch channel went from 400 concurrent viewers to thousands. And within...
I mean, to be fair, 400 is great. I still get emails saying I'm in the top, like, 3% of all Twitch streamers with 5 viewers on average. I'm like, man, a lot of Twitch streamers just make fucking nothing from a viewer count, so that's not very helpful.
Barely 3 months, he was at over 8,000 concurrent viewers. That's top 1% of the top 1%.
Yeah.
Now look, of course you might think, well, there are bigger streamers out there. Of course.
Sure.
But even those streamers must have gotten envious sometimes because of how loyal and supportive PirateSoftware's community was.
I doubt it.
On December 2023, he would beat Twitch's hype train record. When enough people donate bits or gift subs, the hype train is activated, starting at level 1. While that's happening, a timer starts counting down to 0. If more people donate, the timer resets and they get to level 2. PirateSoftware's community had gotten him to level 55, and they discovered together that level 55 was actually the cap. No one had ever reached a hype train level this high on the entire platform. He had gotten over 7,000 subs and 1.8 million bits.
Okay, so let's say those are just base level subs, right? That's $5 a sub for at least a month, right? And I assume there's potentially higher tiers, which may count for more bits. But like, just this alone is gonna be enough to live off of for quite a fucking while. And by the way, wasn't he like potentially caught like potentially convincing a mod to buy him additional subs to keep the hype train going or something like that? I mean, sketchy as fuck potentially. Probably against TOS in a lot of ways, but provable is another whole category. Even if you like say it on screen. At this point, people are just gonna be like, AI did it. Yeah, basically paying a mod to continue the hype train, right? So it'd be like me paying Valorix to extend a hype train. Scummy, sure. Can I see it happening? Absolutely. Can I see other creators doing that? Absolutely. Can I see maybe people should be smarter, and if you're going to do that, you have another laptop like on your desk that you only do shit with that. You know, that way it's totally separate. You don't alt tab out. Yeah, I know Neuro beat it eventually, but you know, if you're going to do something stupid like that, use a separate computer system. And if you can, put that computer system on its own fucking network. Like, if you're making enough money at this point, you should be able to pay for a second ISP like hub where you can do that weird shit on the side. Yeah, I could totally see people finding Neuro from this video. So here's the thing about not Discord. Discord moderators. Okay, they can still independently operate because of if they have a parasocial relationship with like for instance my moderators hate me. No, I'm kidding. Oh, my moderators basically they're basically another version of me. I highly doubt they like me for just as any sort of parasocial relationship. It's just more, hey, maybe we can use this guy to boost our channel a bit, which is totally fine. At least that's how I think of Hanvix and Leverboy. Yeah, see? There you go. You guys hate me. They're perfect. Maybe you guys are like hate watchers, or I don't know. But yeah, so Pirate, for instance, leaked his own DMs on stream, right? If you're going to be doing crazy, shady shit like that, do not have Discord linked to your main system. That's it. Just don't have it on your main system. And, at that point, you're obviously making enough money. You should be able to have multiple systems. Yeah, I know it. Yeah, okay, right. Wonder Ramons is my Charburg account. Yeah. Yeah, I'm Charburg. Oh no, you're right. Didn't Charburg have an alt account thing? Not a real one. It was like this fake thing within his one of his videos or something like that. It wasn't real. It was just totally fake. But I'm just saying that in general, if you're gonna be fucking stupid on stream, you're gonna have to own the consequences of being stupid on stream.
If you don't know what this means, he had essentially made $50,000 in one stream. This guy's community was so unstoppable.
Okay, but don't forget, some of this stuff is going to be, I guess, so for instance, the subs. Let's say they were all base level subs. He only made half of that, right? I guess it depends on what tier he's in. So for instance, I'm in lowest tier, so it's 50-50. Higher tiers, I guess you can get closer to 85-15, I think. I think 75-25 is more normal, but maybe at his tier level, he's probably at 85-15. So that could be 50,000. It could also be 38,000.
Well, that it made everyone else be aware of
Still
his existence. So much so that he actually was able to get nominated to the Streamer Awards in December of 2023. He was barely getting viral. But this is just how influential he was in such a short span of time. But what I want you to understand here is that the Streamer Awards actually have way bigger streamers than PirateSoftware and other category nominations. For example, like XQC or Kai Cenat. These streamers would of course send their own communities to go vote for them on the website. And they did so with no issues. But when PirateSoftware sent his community to vote for him, they crashed the fucking website. No other content creator had even come close to crashing the website.
I mean, okay, so there could be a bunch of things that have been happening with that one. It may not have been Pirates doing. It may have been like a timing thing there. A lot of things could be happening. There could have been a server update in the background. Someone could have seen that on his side and DDoS the entire site. So they could be, it may not just be a traffic spike for his, submissions for the voting. There could have been a bunch of random shit going down in the background. It's not necessarily as cut and dry with that one.
So it goes without saying that he won the Best Software and Game Development Streamer Award in 2023. He wasn't just absolutely killing it, the guy was speedrunning being a content creator, getting to 1 million subs, getting hundreds of thousands of followers on Twitch, winning streamer awards, and beating records when it came to donations on Twitch. So of course, I say this with no exaggeration, the sky was the limit and the guy was barely getting started. If he could achieve that in just a couple of months, what could he achieve in years? Would he become a legend? Achieve stardom?
I mean, he can still be a legend and still be a piece of shit person, right? So, I mean, I guess this might be like a big road bump for him. The question is, will he learn from it or will he double down?
He was unstoppable.
I assume he's doubling down right now.
And he had no one to blame but himself. The first incident that would begin his cataclysmic...
Oh, didn't he so isn't this like a one life hardcore mode or something for this this run? Well, okay, so that's the thing though. a lot of people, like, do you know how many people, like, got mad at some of the Xbox ones that we did? Which is fine. I mean... Well, yeah, you can... Legendary piece of shit. Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, you can let that one through. That one's fine. For most swearing things, you can absolutely let most of them through. Just anything that you think would be like really bad. Most of the time swearing is totally fine because I swear all the time, right? That's not gonna do anything. It might lower my ad revenue, I guess, on YouTube, but who gives a fuck? So I heard about this one. This was like everyone had like a one life type of thing, right? And he like ran away and like let half his fucking party die, right? And this is like a raid, so you're looking at everyone who's leveled their characters up for 60 plus hours.
Downfall was, in the most ironic way possible, in a World of Warcraft dungeon. Yes, Blizzard Entertainment's biggest game of all time. And it would become his worst nightmare.
Yeah.
Guys, I don't think World of Warcraft needs any introduction, okay? It came out in 2004 and revolutionized gaming forever. Many
Here it is. I mean, we do. And you guys can call me a piece of shit when I'm a piece of shit, too.
games tried to copy it, many games tried to compete with it. They all died, and this game is still alive today in 2020.
I mean, lots of MMOs have succeeded. Guild Wars 2. And I guess it depends on what you mean by dying, right? A lot of games are only specifically meant to run their course for a set amount of time. They're not meant to last for eternity. I mean, look, RuneScape. RuneScape is one of the ones that's kind of meant to last for eternity in a lot of ways. Final Fantasy just keeps coming out with new updates or updating to a new version of the game, I guess, in certain ways. Although Final Fantasy has different kind of worlds within the same thing. That one's more complicated. But, like, you know, like, for instance, Ion and Ion 2 and whatnot, although I heard Ion 2 is like a fucking money pit. A lot of these games are only meant to have a shelf life of 3 to 5 years. That's the whole point. They're supposed to make as much money as possible and then fucking drop it. Yeah, I would assume Stop Killing Games is going to be brought up in this video.
25. Now, throughout the years, it has received many different expansions, 9 in total. And while they would add more content, quests, story, sometimes new races, sometimes new classes, some of them would also permanently alter the game's fundamental mechanics. In other words, the game that you're playing now in 2025 is vastly different from the game that you would have played on release day. One could even go as far as saying that they're completely different games at this point.
I didn't start playing the game until the launch of Burning Crusade. So I kind of skipped that first year or two that the game was out. And then I started playing around Burning Crusade time. I never really did a lot of the raid stuff. And eventually I was I guess I was botting technically. Because I controlled the fish market on 3 servers. But I stopped doing that once I got banned. Which is fair. But, you know, that was when I was like 14, 15-ish.
Seeing that so many people's most meaningful gaming experience while they were growing up was World of Warcraft, a lot of them yearned for nostalgia. A lot of them wanted to relive those days.
Right, so they brought back classic.
Was worry about mechanics from 10 or even 15 years ago. This would result in the rise of WoW private servers. Unofficial servers ran by fans.
The unofficial servers were a lot of fun because you would have crazy things like triple and quadruple XP. You'd have some crazy fucking abilities. You would, you know, it'd absolutely be pay to win servers and shit. Hands down pay to win servers. But they were a lot of fun and they would crash all the fucking time. And they weren't expensive. They were like $30, you know, for like an upgrade that would last like 6 months or something like that. And, you know, it'd be like a $2.50 a month like subscription. And then not only would your account get banned, but everyone else's accounts would get banned because they'd ban the server.
in which they would use old versions of the game. At some point, Blizzard would start taking down some of the most popular private servers and would cause community outrage, with many asking Blizzard directly, well, why are you going to take them down, seeing that there's demand for them if you're not going to make one of your own? And so they took their sweet time, but eventually, in the year 2019, they would launch World of Warcraft Classic.
If I remember right, the reason they took a lot of extra time was, one, there was a bit of a shuffle inside of Blizzard itself at the time. Of people wanting to only move forward, and then some people wanting to be more nostalgic. But then there was also the fact that they would have had to, since they kept building on top of the other one, they didn't necessarily have the game in a very specific format to start up a new classic version. And they kind of had to like rewrite a good chunk of the code.
Bringing back World of Warcraft exactly how it was back during patch 1.12.1 of September 2006, before the launch of its first ever expansion. It would run in parallel to the normal World of Warcraft of today and would slowly re-release its expansions, allowing people...
Oh, if it came out in 2006, I wasn't 14 when I started playing this game. Really? Was it really? Did it really release in 2006? Yeah, my timing's off then by like a long ways. I was like, I was closer to 18 then.
People to relive them once more.
Maybe
in the
19.
summer of 2023, World of Warcraft Classic would release the Hardcore Realms game mode. These are separate servers from normal ones in which you can create a new character,
right, this
but
is
if
where
you die, you lose that character forever, hence why it was called Hardcore. And this is where Sodapoppin comes in, a streamer that has been streaming for over a decade now. In his early days, he was a popular World of Warcraft streamer, and when he saw the announcement of World of Warcraft Classic Hardcore, he would create a Hardcore streamer guild in October 2023, in which he...
I mean, this probably sounds like a great idea offhand, but you add that many like popular streamers into one thing, you're gonna get some fucking hurt.
He and a bunch of other big streamers would try their best to level up their character to level 60 without dying, and eventually also try to do endgame content. It was a big success, so at the end of 2024, he decided to launch Season 2. This time, better and bigger than ever before. The amount of streamers that participated in this Season 2 was
I can guarantee you fucking Asmongold's in that list somewhere, right?
insane. There are streamers here who had never even played World of Warcraft that were huge in games that they played. Some were League of Legends pros, some were Counter-Strike pros. I mean, the list
awful
went
at League of
on.
Legends.
It was an astounding amount of people. And of course, one of the many, many big streamers that had joined OnlyFangs was none other than PirateSoftware. Seeing that he had built such a massive influence over the year of 2024, adding him to the guild was seen as a net positive. It was seen as a good thing, until one day it wasn't. The maximum level you could reach in World of Warcraft...
Oh, I guess you have a bunch of different characters. Jeez, look at how many characters. I mean, I guess it's every character, right? I love how when like streamers create like characters and shit, or just people in general, you get tired of naming shit and you just start naming everything the same fucking thing with a slight change. Oh, I love that.
Warcraft Classic Hardcore was level 60, and getting there just by itself is already an ordeal that lasts dozens of hours and sees you try your best to not die. Now, Dire Maul,
you can die in like some of the dumbest fucking ways possible in that game too.
Is a dungeon that you can only access if
the
you're
worst one
level
is like when you
58 at the
disconnect
minimum,
right before
and
something
its appeal
happens.
is the amount of great gear that it drops. Dungeons are typically ran by 5 people, so PirateSoftware and 4 other streamers decided to take this on in order to get better gear. Now usually, when you're in a dungeon or a raid, there's always a team leader, someone who calls the
Wait, so it was just a random dungeon he dropped, so that effectively killed 4 people?
shots. It's a very stressful role, especially in a raid when you're managing a couple dozen people, and it's even crazier in hardcore World of Warcraft because whatever you decide might affect the accounts of the people playing. One wrong move and they lose dozens of hours of progress, and it's all on you. I'm saying this because I want you to bear in mind that PirateSoftware is not the group leader here. But as silly as this sounds, the beginning of PirateSoftware's downfall was because of this dungeon and what you're about to see here.
Okay, so it was just from a base dungeon, not so. I mean, upside it's only 4 other characters, right? Downside is you're fucking over 4 streamers versus just also losing your own character in a wipe. You know, at that point, you might as well just lose your character and be like, ah, shit, fuck it. That's why whenever we play like crowd control games on my side, I expect to die a bunch, even though I'm going to play mostly survival type games. So, even if we start entirely over. By the way, I downloaded the Game of the Year edition of Fallout 4, and I fixed the crowd control setup for that. So maybe I'll do like a mini side stream tomorrow or something. I've been playing They Are Billions again. I don't know why. So I guess we could do that. I downloaded a mod for that makes the game much harder.
The YouTuber Dev, otherwise known as Short Fat Otaku, great name by the way, combined the perspectives of everyone who was streaming in the dungeon minus one person. One of them was PirateSoftware on the top right. As you're watching this, you're going to hear the team leader say, run. In World of Warcraft dungeons or raids, this means retreat, but help each other retreat. Not every...
Isn't everyone in their own drama? You know, just for fun. We're going to pull that up for a second. Because why the fuck not? I mean, we're in the middle of this. We're only talking about drama stuff, so who cares? Right off the bat. Oh, jeez. I don't know if that's drama of... some sort of drama. That's some really, really fucked up drama you never want to be in. This is the type of drama that fucks you over and screws up your career because that's bad. Even if only 10% of that's true, that's still bad. Okay. Yeah, I didn't look at... I mean, I obviously have no clue either. Well, whoever wants to check that train wreck out, have at it. See, so here's the thing. Not everyone's going to be fucking a saint in any of these videos here that we're watching.
Every man for himself, don't care about your teammates. You're meant to stick around, try your best to outmaneuver the enemies while making sure your teammates also make it out with you. But
I mean, here's the thing about games like this. In a hardcore mode, people panic all the time. And, you know, yeah, I mean, you can absolutely say that Pirate's dumb as fuck for leaving his entire team, which is objectively true, right? I do understand people panicking and just jumping. But the problem is, the question is, did he even say sorry? We'll see about
as
that.
you might guess, that's not what happened here at all. Watch.
God damn it.
Run.
Just run. Guitar, you dummy.
All right, so he said run.
Okay.
The team tries their best to make sure that they all get out together.
Masses.
No.
Look at PirateSoftware.
Also, are you fine? Any grenades,
I got last
anything?
stand. You can just
Heal
kill
him,
them.
heal him, heal him.
Yeah, you just heal me. Just come back a little bit.
Also on me, sitting bare form.
Wait, is Pirate... what is he? Is he a priest in this one? I can't tell what type of character he's running. I haven't played WoW in such a long time. It looks like he's running a mage. It looks like he's running a mage. Okay, so there's nothing he could really do aside from like crowd control, right? Like he could potentially freeze things, depending. He could polymorph technically, but there's light crowd control. But it looks like he just fucking bolted.
Copy, just run.
I can help a lot. Yeah.
Pirate, why are you walking, bro?
What are you talking about? Why am I walking?
This
Look
is
at my mana.
savage, but come on,
Innervate you?
man.
Kill the.
So his teammate told him, Pirate, why are you walking, bro? This is salvageable. Come on, man. He doesn't care. He keeps running all by himself.
Just kill the master.
Innervate.
Use
the
Nova,
healer.
bro,
Kill the
come on.
master.
Okay, so he's basically like a shit teammate, right? He's kind of like one of those people that like to be carried kind of a thing, maybe. And maybe he's good at the game itself. Like he's probably better than I am. I'm fucking awful at WoW. Like I played a lot of the game, but I didn't actually play in the raids or anything because I just don't have the fucking attention span, I guess.
We got this.
But
In
he
sense
just seems
of,
like a shit
something.
teammate.
Do you
What's
see
up now?
my mana? What am I supposed to do for you?
Just kill the mastiffs. One shot. Okay,
There's more.
I mean, what was his mana at? Could we actually see? The problem is I don't see any bars up on his side. I don't. He has a bunch of shit all over the fucking place, but well, yeah. I mean, a lot of like, so when he was running down this hill right here, his mana should have been recovering. Even at like base level, he should have been at least 50%.
Help
Right?
lot. Yeah.
Pirate, why are you walking, bro?
What are you talking about? Why am I?
And obviously they're buffed like crazy, so they're gonna have additional mana regen.
Okay,
This
look at
is
my mana.
savageable. Come on,
Innervate you.
man.
Kill the.
So his teammate told him, Pirate, why are you walking, bro? This is salvageable. Come on, man. He doesn't care. He keeps running all by himself.
Just kill the mastiffs.
Innervate.
Innervate the
Go
healer.
up, bro.
Kill the
Come on.
mastiffs. We got this.
Heals.
In a sense of.
War something.
Do you see my mana? What am I supposed to do for you?
Just kill the mastiff.
I mean, like, I don't see... Okay, so I don't see anything on screen. I guess it would be down here in this left-hand corner, potentially. But I don't see anything directly on screen where I can see their, stats of anyone else. But I assume you can. There's a lot of mods you can do with that shit, so... I'm gonna just assume that that's on screen
Okay,
somewhere.
more than
I just
one
can't
way,
see it
more
because
than
I'm
one
blind as fuck.
The mastiffs can be ice novas.
Now we're gonna wait.
Musara?
Oh.
Okay, get out, get out.
Run.
Evocation's on cooldown, man.
I can taunt last.
How much mana is
moment
ice?
as well.
Oh, okay. So he just fucking left the dungeon. I got you.
There's no miss that much mana.
You have a boss in you. You called run.
Getting slowed.
Fuck. Wait,
Anything for me?
Stop me. Oh,
I
no.
don't think I cannot stun him. Also,
No,
good.
just run out.
So, that sounded like a massive fuck up, didn't it?
Yes,
I mean, okay. I don't think he could have really potentially have stopped anything from that. He could have, maybe, but I don't know. I mean, you're gonna tell everyone to run. I don't know about running out of the entire fucking instance. That's kind of shitty, right? I just know there's lots of shit fucking players in that game. As in, not that they're bad players, but they're just shit people. Even in whole groups, right? I mean, I could definitely see a lot of people being mad about that. But I don't know 100% like if he could have actually made a difference in this case, and he would have lost his character too. And it looks like he's not the only one. It looks like only one person died here. Everyone else looks like they ran out. Oh, yeah, no, I expected to get far worse for
it
him.
did, short fat otaku. Bear in mind, PirateSoftware's excuse here was, I have no mana, I can't help you, when he clearly had to.
Okay, where's the mana? Why can't I fucking see it? Like, am I just like missing it on screen?
2 items in his inventory that could bring back up his mana. He could have totally helped and saved his 2 teams.
I mean, maybe. And I don't even know if he could have saved his teammates. Maybe, but I just don't think Pirate fucking gave a shit. Like, who
Teammates that
cares?
ended up dying, losing all their progress. This was a disaster. One of his teammates, Yamato, on the left here, confronted him and was asking him what happened, like what's going on. And this was what PirateSoftware had to say right after the fact.
You instantly ran. You didn't even look
As much
back.
as you're angry right now,
I mean, you said to run. Maybe not him. The other guy said to run, right? If someone tells me to run, I'm fucking running. It's like running away from a bear. You know, you trip your nearest friend to make sure they die instead. No, I'm not saying Pirate's not a shit person as well, but I mean, when you're in a game, you're in a game.
of course I ran.
I'm not angry at all. I'm
You
not angry at all.
overpulled 2 packs. You overpulled 2 packs and a boss. I had 1,400 mana left. I had to spend all of that mana to try and put it on Blizzard to save you guys in the first place, and nothing left. You weren't
Did
paying
he use
attention to party
Blizzard, though?
resources. You overpulled, and you weren't paying attention to where the boss was. That's not on me.
So 2 of his teammates pretty much lost everything. He very clearly ran on his own when he could have just said, you know what, look, yes, I panicked, I screwed up, my bad, sorry. But he instead decides to blame his entire team except for himself.
Yeah, so I didn't even see him use Blizzard, so he used a different spell, right? Okay. Now, the only downside of hardcore in any sense is people tend to not do what they would normally do just because, you know, there's that never coming back aspect. It happened a lot in not World of Warcraft, but Diablo. Diablo 2, I had a lot of times where, you know, I would panic and pull all the wrong fucking abilities because I was running a hardcore character. And then I would fucking lose that character or something stupid would happen. So people play differently when there's no choice left. And yeah, I mean, a lot of people would rather everyone else around them fucking die than their character because they don't want to lose their time on the character. Can I fault Pirate for that? Absolutely. Do I think it's like the most detrimental thing ever to happen? No.
It was your guys' fault for pulling in the enemies. It was your guys' fault for calling run in the middle of a fight. It was your guys' fault for this and that. This was very weird behavior. I mean, this is just a game. And he was acting like if he apologized.
Okay, but that's how all streamers kind of like, not just streamers though, like just people in general. A lot of people in general are going to be defensive against their teams. And, you know, if they, that happened, do you know how many times that fucking happened in any fucking raid ever? The amount of nonsense garbage shit I've been in for like regular raids is just as fucking stupid.
He would be committing a cardinal sin or something. It made his teammates very uncomfortable to the point where the guild leader had to step in. Now, Sodapoppin was initially the guild leader, but then, unexpectedly, he dueled Tyler 1, who had leveled up to level 60 and became a very important member of the guild, in a fight that would determine who the new guild master
World of
would be.
Warcraft drama.
What no one was expecting, though, was that Tyler 1 would beat Sodapoppin, becoming the guild master. Seeing that this was becoming a big guild issue, he had to step in and brought
I like how this is like set up like a fucking news page.
both Yamato and PirateSoftware into a call in order to squash the beef once and for all. The result? A catastrophe. Watch.
What do you want, man?
Let me say it again.
He already said his piece.
Pirate.
Go on.
Oh,
Yeah,
dear God.
I want to speak to him because I didn't speak to him correctly. I said it again. We all did mistakes, bro. Like I didn't say, we are just blaming you. It's about the zero accountability is what makes us so mad.
There's no zero.
Like, I don't think Pirate gives a shit about accountability, though. That's part of the problem, though. There are plenty of people who play games, and they don't care as long as their character lives, as long as they're totally fine. They don't give a fuck about anyone else as long as their stuff works. And that's very typical of a lot of gamers, by the way.
Accountability, dude. Everyone can do something better.
you-
But when you open up and
No,
you yell
you-
over another
no,
person
listen,
like you
can
were
I
doing earlier,
speak?
nah, I'm good.
You
See ya.
Yeah. He just doesn't give a fuck. The amount of like players I've seen for every single genre that do this shit. What is different here? Just fucking kick him from the guild and you're done.
I'm not doing that shit again with him. Nah. He did it the first time. I'm not doing it a second one. Not interested.
I mean, this is so weird. Yamato was being as mature as possible here.
I don't know. I mean, so many gamers do this shit. This is not new. This is all normal fucking gamer shit.
Saying, listen, this was all our fault. We're not blaming you. We just want you to admit, just like we've admitted, that we all screwed up, and he couldn't even say that. Leaving
Yeah,
the
plenty of fucking people can admit when they're wrong. If they did, Reddit wouldn't exist.
call like an immature, disrespectful baby as Yamato was talking. This not only rubbed his
I mean,
dungeon teammates the wrong way,
That's true. He absolutely is acting like a 3-year-old. But it's not really out of the ordinary.
it rubbed the entire OnlyFangs guild as well as the viewers the wrong way. As criticism was mounting, PirateSoftware was for the first time confronting massive controversy coming his way. At any point in time, he could have just simply apologized and moved on. Instead, he only chose to double down, playing the victim and saying that other streamers and OnlyFangs just want to cause problems with him for no reason whatsoever.
Okay, well, that's stupid. That line of thinking doesn't make any sense at all. That's like a whole separate issue. That'd be like you having other issues aside from running with that team. And at that point, why the fuck would you run with that team in the first place? No, that's stupid. That's a dumb way of thinking about it.
Content is causing drama and problems. There's a lot of streamers actually in this guild that want to cause problems specifically with me and have even stated so publicly on their Twitch, saying that they want to have a fight with me for content. That's not content. That's dog shit.
No, I actually could see that actually being a thing. If you create enough drama with a bigger channel, you could potentially boost your own channel. That could work. It's not the best way to do it. I guess a good example would be Riley CS, right? So Riley CS, they finally banned Riley for like legitimately cheating. Great. But there was like not necessarily enough information right off the bat. So it created a huge fucking like stir in the background, which boosted their channel through the roof, which is crazy. They went from like, 200 concurrent viewers to like 8,000 easily. And even with it coming out that they actually did cheat, right? And I don't even know if they responded to it. They probably didn't, which is probably the smartest thing they could have done. I don't think there's any response yet from Riley, but maybe there is. But even when it came out that Riley actually cheated or was, accused or proven to be cheating, right? It doesn't matter. They lost maybe 2,000 of their new 8,000 viewers. The regardless point is it pushed their channel through the roof, even though they're totally banned from Battlefield or whatever the fuck game it was. Could have been. I think it was Battlefield, not Call of Duty. And it doesn't matter. Just pick a different fucking game. And I thought that was pretty interesting. Like, people were like, this is the worst person ever. And I'm like, yeah, but it's boosting their channel like crazy. You may consider them a shit person and you don't want to watch them, but enough people don't care.
Ridiculous. Keep it. Not going to be a part of it.
I mean, seriously, why would people just want to attack you unprovoked for no reason whatsoever?
Because it's fun. Because it's the fucking internet. Because the more people that attack each other and vice versa on the internet, the more ad revenue it generates and continues to generate. That's the whole reason.
Cruel world we live in. The bulk of these events would unfold from January 10th to January 12th, 2025. By that time, PirateSoftware would have received so much criticism, so much hate, that he felt compelled to post a long tweet explaining his point of view on Twitter, saying, "To those trying to character assassinate me online for a bad pull in Dire Maul WoW Hardcore, this is Hardcore WoW and a lot is on the line when you step foot into a dungeon. Here is a light breakdown of the last 24 hours. Our party went the wrong way and overpulled multiple packs with a boss. The shot caller made the call to run, then went back on that call. During the run out, another pack was pulled as we had opted to skip it previously, which is never a good thing. Communication was completely broken throughout this, and it was our second time failing the dungeon. Everyone..."
Okay, so obviously communication probably wasn't broken during this. Although I don't remember him saying that we can, like, one guy said we can do it, but I don't know if that was the shot caller, right? Was that the shot caller? If it was, maybe we can say, but I don't know. There seems to be a bit of a reach on this response. He probably should just fucking have ignored it, honestly.
Played poorly, and 2 people ultimately lost their characters for it.
He
Each
could just
person
be like,
in this group made mistakes,
"Who
including
the fuck
myself.
cares?"
I have
But he
never
didn't.
once said I was perfect in my play, nor that I was a god gamer. I'm just an ex-Blizzard employee that has played Mage for a long time.
I like how he brings up his ex-Blizzard employee. Okay, do you know what's funny? A lot of Blizzard employees have never fucking ever played the game. Like, ever. There are tons of people who work at Blizzard who have never once turned on the game.
To pin that on a single person
And
is
never
absurd
will.
at best, and if you're calling for death and cancellation over it, you're too invested in this content in a very unhealthy way. If you're
The amount of people that send out death threats for dumbass shit like this is insane.
a creator engaging in this kind of behavior, then eventually your content wave will end, but the relationships you've sullied will be permanent. Hope it was worth it for you. To those trying to defend me, don't worry about it. This too shall pass. Do not attack anyone else on my behalf. I've always hated that kind of behavior. I have no intention of stopping making things or not doing stuff as I have already been. Those who were banned will stay so. I've never liked that kind of knee-jerk reaction behavior in our community before, and I will not be changing that now. For those that don't understand why they will stay banned, we had a 10-hour long hate raid over it live on Twitch. We had to ban nearly 4,000 accounts across all platforms, and our moderators received death threats regularly throughout it all. People called for me to be killed both in-game and out of game. They tried to get me banned from Twitch, the guild,
That sounds
and
like a
WoW.
typical
They tried
viewer.
to make disparaging comments about our
Let me rephrase that. Sounds like a typical viewer from another channel. It's the same shit with fucking what happened with Charlie right now. Remember Charlie or Penguin Zero pulled up the copyright thing, and then all of a sudden the two guys, the two storm chasers, start getting death threats, and you're like, dude, what the fuck?
rescue or that we somehow hurt animals. They tried to spread rumors saying I was convicted of felonies and many other things. The internet hate machine will not defeat me or the community that supports me. See you in WoW Hardcore tomorrow. So this was posted on January 13th, 2025. Okay. And while he did admit that everyone in the group made mistakes, including himself, it truly didn't feel genuine. It seemed like it was absolutely impossible for him to just say, I'm sorry, I misplayed. He just couldn't.
Because he's not sorry. He doesn't give a shit. I don't understand what people don't understand. He doesn't care. He blacklisted the word mana. That's funny. I guess that makes sense. You could totally do that. Now we're a lot of those maybe a lot of those bans were like temporary ones. Like maybe you only blacklist certain you only permaban certain people, right? Maybe he does like a 1,000,000-second timeout or something, right? Because that'd be potentially losing a lot of subscribers and viewers and followers and things like that. Now, maybe he just doesn't care. 4,000 may not be a huge deal for him.
Do it. Someone pointed that out, saying, where's the I messed up? And PirateSoftware said, apparently you have no idea how to read. Hope this helps. Highlighting the paragraph in which he said, each person in this group made mistakes, including myself. Again, it was word.
I mean, that's still technically a mess up. It's just more of a, like a tongue-in-cheek kind of version, right? I guess the problem is like with the internet, like a lot of people just don't, even if you tell someone you messed up, they don't actually fucking care. It's like doing YouTuber apology videos. No one really fucking cares 9 times out of 10. The main reason you do YouTuber apology videos is if you have a sponsor and they demand it of you. That's about it. Anything else is kind of like, I guess, for like fluff and favor in a way. It's not really going to do shit.
In a disingenuous way. He just couldn't take individual accountability here, no matter what. The top comment was a WoW streamer known by Joker D saying, just take the L, it's not that hard, to which PirateSoftware said, hope this was worth it for you. So overall, this entire response didn't really help him at all. And even if it did, he would single-handedly ruin any progress it might have had.
Okay, let's say he actually did apologize, right? 100%. I doubt anything would have fucking changed. I doubt it would have mattered. Because the same people would never have forgiven him anyway, right? That's how the internet works.
In the coming days, he would double down, triple down, quadruple down, quintuple down, and eventually sextuple down, only to call OnlyFangs a content guild built on hate.
And a lot of it was from a rogue that was bitching the entire time about every goddamn thing that was going on except for his own play. But the mage is the one at fault because the mage is the hero class and the mage has to do everything.
Okay, that's bullshit. That's the dumbest thing ever. The mage is the hero class? Yeah, okay. Okay. I'm going to call bullshit on that one. But, I mean, if you're going to make a guild entirely out of streamers, the whole point is going to eventually be to create as much fucking drama as possible. If it wasn't him, it was going to be someone else in like a month or two.
Perfectly. Everyone in that play.
He just cracked
badly.
First.
The druid butt pulled an extra pack on the way out. The tank chose to take us into a bad route through the entirety of the dungeon, pulled 2 packs and the boss at the same time. I, as the mage, went into that fight with 40% mana, tried to use my resources, used them poorly, and got myself out when the call was made to run, which, by the way, was made by them as well. Everyone played badly. In fact, the only person who didn't was the healer. And I explained that in the Twitter post, but no one wants to hear that shit. Because they want it to be a double down, a triple down, a quadruple down. They want to have a villain. They want to have an enemy. They want to fight that shit into the...
I think the problem that people have, though, with Pirate is he just doesn't give a shit. He doesn't care about apologizing to people. He's like, everyone is wrong. It's either everyone is wrong or no one was wrong. He's like, I'm not going to take any fucking L's for this shit. So, I don't know. I think people just really wanted him to apologize, and he's just like, no. And then they're like, worst fucking person ever. I still think it was stupid for him to run out like that, but and just not like wait a few seconds to try to help a little bit, but no.
Ground. They want to send death threats to people over it.
Yeah,
Because they're
I can see
goddamn
that.
insane. Because this guild has turned into a content guild built on hate, not a content guild
Well,
built on experiences.
It's just a content guild built on content. I doubt it's targeted hate or anything. Just nonsense.
Because they're
content.
freaking monsters, dude.
It's just crazy how we got to this point and we're not even halfway through this drama, and all he had to really realistically do was look at the camera and say, you know what, I'm sorry. We all misplayed, yes, but I screwed up by running away the way I did. I had 2 items that could have restored my mana so I could help the 2 people.
I mean, if he remembered he had those 2 items. If I'm running, I'm not gonna be looking at my fucking inventory. I'm just not. Everything you can see is, hindsight 2020 when you can pause a video and be like, oh, look, here's every individual item. And that's what this one does. But
People who died, but I just simply panicked and ran away. And so even though we all misplayed, I just want to say I'm sorry for my play. But no,
Yeah.
it was too hard for
he
him.
absolutely could have said that. He could have absolutely gone through and been like, I'm totally sorry for the fuck up I did on my end. My bad. He could have absolutely said that. And I'm sure a lot of this stuff never would have happened. But where's the fun in that?
Guys, he worked at Blizzard, and Blizzard employees simply don't make mistakes. That's a given. As PirateSoftware was too busy playing the victim,
I think you're missing something. Blizzard employees don't make correct choices in any way ever. Like ever. The amount of internal shit in Blizzard from 2006 to 2014 was insane. Like, they were on the verge of constant internal bullying and lawsuits all the time. It was crazy.
a clip of the streamer Lucari surfaced in which he was doing a dungeon with PirateSoftware. You see, Lucari is someone who had never played World of Warcraft up until this point. He was playing a mage just like Pirate, but he was kind of having a hard time keeping up with everything going on. Here's how Pirate treated him. I'm sure you can tell from the title. PirateSoftware bullying a totally new player to the game. Pathetic, dude. Watch.
You basically have to evocate to get your mana back for the next pull. Ugh.
Reminded me, sorry, I don't play the game, so I forgot. If you remind me, I can help you out real quick.
Yeah, it's too bad I'm the only mage in the party. You're right, Chad. If only someone else would cast Arcane. If only.
Can't really keep wishing for things that just aren't here, though.
That is true.
That's true. That's true. Can't wish for the rogue. Can't wish for another mage to cast Arcane in.
Yeah.
Brother, may I have some oats? Oh, since we have two mages, we could probably poly the ads.
Wait, we have two mages. Oh, man.
Yeah, I can poly.
Here I've been the only one casting Arcane in. Incredible.
Oh, that's crazy.
It's wild, right?
I mean, I'm not sure I consider this bullying. I mean, this just sounds like regular shit talking for noobs. But okay. I guess you could consider this bullying.
God, even reality TV can't recreate such an awkward moment, man. Just ruining the whole vibe.
Yes, it can. It absolutely fucking can. Reality TV does this shit on an hourly basis.
Yeah, it's too bad I'm the only mage in the party. You're right, Chad.
Hey man, I'm new to the game, so if you want me to help with Arcane, just let me know, remind me. Yeah, it's too bad I'm the only mage in the game, right chat? Oh, we have two mages. Oh, I didn't know that. All that in the face of a new player who was being nothing but nice, honestly. And yet Pirate Software
Look, if I was a new player, I wouldn't even. It would have just gone straight over my fucking head. Maybe I'm just extra dumb, or I just don't care. Maybe that's my problem. I just don't fucking care. The amount of people that just tell me stupid shit all the time, and I'm like, yeah, that's great. And they're like, well, I just insulted you. Okay. Do better. Let me help out next time. I'll help you insult me better. That'll make things easier. Maybe that's my problem with this
had the
video.
gall to complain about being bullied by other content creators when he was literally doing that to someone as innocent as Lakari. The culmination of all this would force Sodapoppin to take the decision of kicking Pirate Software from OnlyFangs, pinging
But don't worry, there were other reasons. Oh my god, I was so terrible at climbing a peak. That was hilarious. And the best part about that is people tried to, buy the tornado and shit, but because I wasn't running the server itself, it wasn't working correctly. Imagine if you guys had actually succeeded in running the pulling in the tornado. That would have been fucking great. No, yeah, I was so bad at that game. Oh, it was awesome. I loved playing it though. It was a good game. I should definitely bring that back into the streams this week, I think we'll do a gaming stream where I just play fucking terribly. Like, the amount of times you guys killed me in Skyrim was fantastic. I loved it. I'm going to say that he was probably kicked out, not for that specific thing, but I bet you there was a lot of little things that weren't that just added up for him. Because I don't think that one necessarily would be considered bullying. I just think that'd be just normal, general, just trash talking while in game. None of that was really that bad, in general. But I think a lot of it is when you add it up. For him, it's when you add all of the shit stuff up. Overall, it becomes a problem for your guild, and not because it's overall horrible. It's because it's creating a bad image for the streamer group. Like, if he was in a regular guild and he was the only one streaming, he would never have been kicked out, because no one else would be messaging his guild members because they don't even fucking know who they are, right? The reason it's a problem is because he's supposed to be showing a better image for a multi-group stream group, but he wasn't. That's, he was being his regular shit gamer self is what he was being, versus when you're in a huge group of people like this, you got to be above and beyond kind of a thing, right? I think that was the big problem.
everyone in the OnlyFangs Discord and saying this: yes, I made a decision to kick Pirate. I felt a large majority of people in the guild felt uncomfortable playing or being around him, and all that drama that surrounded him at this point. Even though
it's the drama. People didn't want to be associated with him. And that's the whole point when you have big fucking streamers and YouTubers and VTubers and stuff. At some point, you just kind of have to cut people off. Perfect example would be, remember the Mama Max nonsense? Oh yeah, so you may not trust him on a hardcore game. Like, if you were in a regular game, you probably would risk it, right? But in a hardcore raid or dungeon, you'd be like, I don't want him to be on my fucking team. Even if he's a good player, you'd just be like, I don't want to risk, him running away and leaving me to die. And yeah, I totally get that concept. That's a whole different problem, right? But it reminds me of like the Mama Max thing, though, too. Like, Mama Max went out of his way to paint certain YouTubers, like I think it was Corpse Husband or whatever, in like crazy lights, and people just pulled away and basically distanced themselves from him without, like Corpse Bride, for instance, or whoever, without even taking any like other side. They didn't like look into it. They just fucking dropped that person, right? And you're like, you're just going to automatically take his word for it without even asking to see if it's anything else. I'm like, so that's kind of the same concept. So when something big happens, people just pull away from their friends effectively, just so their own channels aren't affected.
People may have not felt that way. A lot did. And after seeing some clips today from him quadrupling down,
I would-
or
yeah,
I don't
I
know
would
what
be
number we're on at
terrified
this
to go
point,
raiding
I think I'm making the right decision, but still I feel bad. Try to just let this whole thing slide into forgetfulness and move on, in my opinion. Stay safe, gamers. So look, at the end of the day, in World of Warcraft in general, when you're in a raid or dungeon, you have to trust every single
Thank you.
member on your team to
Oh,
make
you
sure
took
that
over
not
Stream
only you
Boss.
complete the raid or dungeon, but that you also survive. This also applies on a way bigger scale in World of Warcraft Classic.
That was like
Hardcore,
500 points of
because
damage there.
one bad teammate can cost you the account that you've put dozens or even hundreds of hours in. And people
I mean, it depends on if people are bodying them themselves up. I can fucking guarantee you a bunch of these guys just set the thing on like an Autobot and just ran it. And came back, they're like, ooh, level 60.
just couldn't trust someone who couldn't take any accountability like PirateSoftware. As soon as things would have gone wrong, he would have probably just ran for his life and said he had no mana again.
Yep.
And not many people really felt sorry for him because at the end of the day, he was the embodiment of this meme. No one was forcing him to sextuple down. No one was forcing him to bully a new player. The only person who was shooting them.
Yeah, I wouldn't trust him during a raid necessarily either. And that's going to be part of the problem. If he wants to run and you're like, I don't know about having you in this 40-man raid, you might fucking just pull every enemy and kill us all just for shits and giggles, then disappear. Like, the best way you could do that is like with a fucking paladin, right? So you pull a ton of shit and then you pop the bubble and then you just teleport out because you have enough time to do so and just kill everyone in the group. I'm pretty sure the bubble lasted that long in WoW Classic. Fucking what a piece of shit you'd have to be. But I could totally see some asshole doing that.
Themselves in the foot with a shotgun was none other than PirateSoftware. At this point, Jason Thor Hall, otherwise known as PirateSoftware, was slowly but surely becoming a lolcow, but he had no idea. But that was normal, because fundamentally speaking, a lolcow is never aware that they're a lolcow. Look, there are a lot of definitions of what a lolcow
Yeah, I was like, there's like a million definitions of this. It's just kind of random.
is, but if I had to sum it up, well, it would be very simple. It's someone who simply embodies the worst of the worst when it comes to human traits, but they would be constantly convinced that they are the perfect human being. Never
That's probably the most accurate version.
able to admit fault, and never willing to even when they know that they're in the wrong. This by itself becomes very entertaining, and there are many examples. They come in all shapes, sizes, and even colors. And the mage who ran out of mana was about to join their ranks imminently.
I mean, so here's the downside or the upside of, I guess, eventually getting to that status is in general, you're still making enough money to live on. Even if you're a piece of shit person, you can continue to be that piece of shit, horrible person while also earning money.
All he had to do to avoid
Johnny
this fate
Somali,
was
though,
just
is going to end up in
fucking
prison.
Apologize, man. But he just couldn't. In fact, what he ended up doing
I just doubt he cares. Like, I doubt he thinks he's in the wrong, which is the problem for him, right?
was maybe one of the cringiest things in this entire video. I genuinely can't believe that someone in his 30s said this, but I mean, watch
Have you been on the internet?
this yourself. You'll know what I mean.
I didn't get this deep. Stop feeding into it. All of the accounts that are messaging me are getting reported. There's a funny fact about this. I worked at Blizzard for 7 years. There's a whole lot of other people there that still know me. And all of these
Okay.
reports are going directly to them. They're well
Okay, that's bullshit and a lie. There's no fucking way.
aware of the situation, and everybody who's messaging
doubt
me,
it.
they're going to get read. It's kind of a dumbass thing to do. And I can't wait for all of them to get banned.
Yeah, I don't believe that for a fucking second. Okay, let's say that did happen, right? Do you know what kind of legal trouble Blizzard would have opened themselves up to if that was ever proven possible? That would be an automatic lawsuit and almost potentially, maybe not a class action one, but that would be a multi-tier lawsuit. No fucking way that's true.
Yep.
Yeah, so all you guys whispering me right now with these threats, well, guess what? My dad works at Nintendo, and I'm going to tell him personally.
Perfect example would be my dad once worked at eBay, right? So if I ever had any account on eBay and then said my dad worked at eBay, my dad would just fucking disown me. Because one, it could get him fired, or could have gotten him fired at the time. Two, that opens up eBay to potential legal lawsuits. And that works for like every company. That shit does not work unless you were also working there. So if you're already working there, you could potentially force that through, because then you would have to have, managers on your side and a bunch of ways to hide it, which is possible in certain ways. But if you're doing this over like live streams and shit, it becomes no longer like hidden in the background, easy to hide stuff. It's out in the open, easy to prove stuff. Like, this would be one of the few times I could absolutely see Blizzard stepping in being like, fuck you, bitch.
About every single one of
Don't
you.
you
So
bring us into
good
this.
job. See you later. It's like, bro, if they're sending you death threats, you really just have to report them in game, and I'm sure something will happen. You don't have to actually bother your Blizzard alumni. This clip was on January 14th.
Yeah, you just block them.
And guys, I swear to you, I am constantly impressed by how ironic life can be. I don't think we live in a simulation, but sometimes I do get the feeling, because some things are just so perfect in comedic timing, you'd think that there was someone writing a script. One day after this clip came out, PirateSoftware was streaming the game Ashes of Creation during its second alpha. This is an
I heard that was an interesting
MMORPG
game.
similar to World of Warcraft, and it also has raids as well as dungeons. During a raid, PirateSoftware would wipe the entire team. He would kill everyone single-handedly by pulling in the wrong unit. What would be his first reaction? Well, watch for yourself.
Sabu is not paying attention.
He pulled in the enemy,
Sabu.
and he died.
God damn it, guys.
No, who pulled the ocular?
I mean, it's just a regular raid, right? It's not a hardcore one, right?
So one of you pulled the ocular.
Oh, okay. So he blames someone else, even though he's the one that probably pulled it, right? Or it looks like he did pull it. Okay.
Why?
Jeez, people gift him 20 subs. Hey, why don't you guys gift me 20 subs? Damn it. How much is that? Is it like $200?
Now half the raid
That sounds
is dead.
expensive. Don't do that.
Was there a reason for that?
I swear, it is so funny knowing that he was the one who pulled the ocular. This is
Did he know he pulled it? Let's assume he did, right? Like, if he knew he pulled it, then like if you honestly in the moment didn't know you pulled it and you blame someone else, I could see that being a thing. But if he knew he pulled it and then is automatically blaming someone, that's funny.
There's also another thing with lolcows. They are unintentionally hilarious. PirateSoftware here was genuinely pissed, okay? He genuinely was livid. But knowing that he was the one who caused the wipe is so fucking funny. It showed people that World of Warcraft wasn't an isolated case. He was doing this in Ashes of Creation and would very easily do this a third time somewhere else.
And yet he still has subscribers that are willing to drop $200 plus on him. Which, all right, cool, I guess. So, I mean, it's not like he's hurting for money in this
It was
shit.
him. He was the issue here. And his lack of accountability was astounding. But you know what else is astounding? His ability to keep digging himself in deeper holes. During this whole fiasco, Joker D would talk about PirateSoftware and would call him out.
I honestly fuck PirateSoftware. Like, straight up, bro, this dude is a complete fraud. At least in the WoW space, I don't care if he worked for fucking Blizzard. The guy probably made fucking coffee for some devs. I don't even believe for a second.
So out of all the streamers,
Yeah, that's the thing. So, like, working for Blizzard means shit unless you tell me your fucking title and what you actually did at Blizzard. But even then, there are plenty of people who work on the fucking game and will never turn the damn thing on. If you're working 14 hours a day during crunch week on some fucking level in a corner somewhere or some random design, you are not going to want to go home and play the damn game. That's just not how that works. And if you're a game tester, you sure as fuck don't want to play that game anymore.
And OnlyFangs, Joker D probably went the hardest on PirateSoftware. He took segments of this
But yeah,
rant
that's a
and uploaded
stupid,
it as a YouTube video.
stupid concept.
That YouTube
I
video
worked at Blizzard, so you should trust me. It means shit. It means nothing.
would then be removed due to a violation of community guidelines, and the person who striked it cited the reason as being harassment and cyberbullying. One could only guess who took this video down. I mean, seriously.
Oh, great.
Joker D would never reveal the name of the brand or whatever that was behind this, but seeing that the video had gotten brigaded by PirateSoftware's community, for many, it was safe to say that PirateSoftware was the one who took this video down because he simply didn't like it, abusing the copy strike system on YouTube. Seeing that Pokemon had done this in the past, back in 2020, getting...
Oh yeah, she got hit with like crazy shit because she which is funny because doesn't she like specifically like react to full TV shows or something like that?
An amazing community reaction. And of course, we can't forget about Alinity doing this as well back in 2018. Wow, I'm old.
I'm gonna copy strike this guy.
I mean, it was genius. It worked so well for every content creator who had done that prior. So obviously, this was the play. Congratulations. You know, it's so fascinating to me how the internet works sometimes. Someone could mind their own business for months, for years, for decades. But as soon as they do something that makes them so incredibly unlikable, the internet starts seeing a big red target on your back and they strike.
Yeah, that's normal. That's perfect. Perfect boss fight. That's fucking normal. And I doubt that that's a huge problem for Pirate in general. I honestly just don't think he gives a fucking shit.
PirateSoftware had a talent of
At least
building up a huge loyal community in just
video.
the span of a couple of months. When January 2025 came by, though, he
he's-
proved to us that he
he's
had another
making
talent. Building
insane
up
amounts
a
of money,
massive community
being
of
a
very
shit person.
loyal haters. These incidents that we just talked about had ensured that. This is when those very same haters would start scrutinizing every single aspect of PirateSoftware, both as a brand and as a person, only to eventually dismantle this massive empire that he had built.
I mean, if you look at his stuff though, he's still earning tons of money. He's still averaging, 3,000 to 4,000 views per stream. I guess the way a lot of YouTubers look at it is if you lose half of your subscribers and half of your view counts, you're completely destroyed and your life is ruined. But is that really the truth? The only thing that really destroys you is if you leave the internet and if you leave any sort of content creation. That's what destroys you if you stop making money. If you get demonetized from everything, that destroys your channels. Johnny Somali is the perfect example. He's been demonetized from literally everything for the most part. I don't even think Kick allows him anymore. So he's lost every part of his income stream, almost entirely. That is what destroys you. That and maybe a prison sentence.
Now look, just to be clear, PirateSoftware has always had haters, dating all the way back to September
Everyone has
2024, and there were earlier instances too. This is normal. When you get famous, when you take over the algorithm the way he did, some people will naturally
When you have
get
5
fatigued
viewers,
from
you
it.
can get a
I mean,
hater.
You might not believe this, but even someone like Queso has haters, purely because he's a massive content creator, no pun intended. Some of these early haters of PirateSoftware would start making videos talking about his past. About how, for example, he wasn't the game developer he was making himself out to be, especially with his Blizzard experience.
I can see
About how he
this.
used to go by the name of Moldavius Fig Tree and was a well-renowned furry in Second Life and EVE Online. But
That's a great name. That's a terrible name, but it's still funny. I mean, who cares? Okay, so was he one of the creepy furries, or was he just a furry? I mean, you can be a creepy fucking I don't know, you can be a creepy part of the swarm, right? There's obviously weirdos in the swarm. There's obviously weirdos in every fandom, Star Trek fandom, whatever. Was he one of the weird ones in there, or was he just a random furry? I mean,
Moldavius Fig Tree and was a well-renowned furry in Second Life and EVE Online. but those videos would never get enough traction to actually matter. As you can see, this video right here with the title of PirateSoftware, the streamer who faked his game dev career, had reached almost 100,000 views. From the like and dislike ratio, we can see how PirateSoftware had somehow, either directly or indirectly, sent his community to brigade this video, and just like Joker D's video, it was taken down by abusing the copy strike system and inciting harassment and cyberbullying. So essentially, if you were an early hater of PirateSoftware, if you had something to say,
I mean, so you can get it put back up, but you have to fight it. So a lot of YouTubers in general are just not going to fucking fight it. They're just gonna be like, nope, I'm done. I'm not gonna worry about this. Fuck this. Yeah, so that's the thing. So when you have a big enough group of people, might be why the Storm Chaser guys are having a bit of a problem right now and backing off of Charlie or Penguin Zero, is because they're getting a lot of potential hate from, you know, his parasocial fans who are like crazy, right? And Charlie's may not say it, but, you know, everyone at some point is going to have some fans that are like totally fucking unhinged, especially as you pass the 25,000 to 50,000 mark. There's always going to be like one out of every 100,000 fans or so that are like unhinged beyond belief, just because they have nothing better to do in just unlimited amounts of time. And that is just inevitable. Unfortunately, a lot of those crazy unhinged ones are going to be across multiple channels, so it's not going to be just one person causing issues. But, you know, I kind of see like how how they're backing off, and they're like, no, we didn't mean to copyright strike you. We promise. We only meant to copyright strike the 20,000 person channels who can't fight us in court. Sorry.
well, chances are no one heard you. This is how for a long time he was able to sweep all the hate, feedback, and criticism under the rug. Except this time, after all the events that we just saw unfold, he had way too many eyes examining his every move, and he couldn't just sweep criticism under the rug anymore. For example, around the end of January 2025, PirateSoftware had DMCA'd an indie game and threatened to sue its developer. Why? Well, the developer shows us the main reason why PirateSoftware wanted the game taken down. Here it is. It's this roach wearing the same wizard hat that he was wearing during World of Warcraft, while mimicking some of the things that he was saying. Watch.
As much as you're angry right now, of course I ran.
This whole game got DMCA'd because of this. I mean, this is how sensitive he is. And now
I mean, a lot of creators would do the same thing. You know, for a fucking fact, a lot of people. So half the time people would be like, oh, I love that. Like, if it was me, I would love my dumbass fucking stupid shit I say in a game, no matter how fucking stupid it was, right? Because I'm an idiot and I like nonsense like that. But there are plenty of people who would absolutely go out of their way to strike that shit, not just pirate. So you're saying that it was, okay, so it wasn't even part of the game, right? It was just, but you gotta know, he probably would have put that in the game regardless. If you're gonna build a little side thing off to the side for a test, I bet you he would have hidden it somewhere in the game. I mean, if you're gonna build it, you're probably not going to not put it in the game. He just hadn't put it in the game at that point, maybe. So that would maybe like splitting hairs kind of a thing, right? But should he have DMCA'd it? Probably not. Would he be the only person I could see doing that? No. Would he have threatened to sue? Well, I mean, he did threaten to sue, right? But I mean, how many fucking people also will do that? The problem is this is obviously about his, character as a person, and he's obviously basically like just shitting on his own goodwill for his own channel at the time. So
many people were made aware of this. He couldn't
definitely
just copy
stupid to
strike
do
or
this in
DMCA
most
just
cases.
about anyone, because every time he did, he spawned more haters. His strategy was now outdated. Everyone was made aware of what had happened to this indie game. And speaking of indie games, there was renewed scrutiny over PirateSoftware's indie game called Heartbound, with many wondering why it's been in early access since 2018 with no release date in sight.
I mean, how many games out there are early access? Like, Satisfactory just finally launched 1.0 in the last couple of months. And it's been early access since like 2014. Okay, maybe not that early, like 2016. There are plenty of games out there that stay in early access for as long as possible because you can basically keep making adjustments to it to where you can kind of limit how reviews are tallied into your account, and you can make adjustments. And you can still charge for the game, which is crazy. But you can also be like, oh, if anything is broken, it's just early access, our bad. At least with like games like Satisfactory from like Coffee Stain, they do their absolute fucking best to fix things. A lot of game publishers don't do that. Pirate's probably one of them.
Give it 3 more years, it'll be a
Allegedly.
decade. Some people were comparing him to Yandere Dev, a very well-established lolcow who hadn't released his game in over a decade. And when people actually analyzed its code, they found some of the worst written code known to mankind.
I mean, a lot of indie devs are self-taught. They, like, for instance, just because Pirate worked at Blizzard doesn't mean he was a coder. And I think that's what a lot of people kind of like think, right? A lot of people who work at like game companies are obviously really good at coding. Bitch, there's like a ton of fucking random jobs you can have. You could be a damn janitor and still be okay at coding. It just depends on what job he had there. And from what I think people have said over the time is he was just a game tester, which means coding was never his specialty. So yeah, his game is probably shit if he's not a coder. Like if he's self-taught, no shit. Now, the problem is when he goes out of his way to bitch at other people saying that their game is also shit for coding and when he has no leg to stand on.
All the scrutiny and criticism catch up to his own game development must have hit one hell of a nerve because very shortly after he announced that Heartbound would start receiving monthly updates. And all it took was people going there and reviewing it negatively. He was hoping that this would steer off the criticism and the scrutiny and that things would eventually finally go back to normal, but the haters weren't really done
crazy
just
fucking games
yet.
out there that are awful.
People were putting into question his entire...
Oh, remember the day before? that was something truly special.
identity. The fact that he worked at Blizzard
and then there's
for
Earth
7
2,
years,
of course.
Worked what exactly? As well as him claiming that he was one hell of a hacker who had gone
there's
to
like
the
a
yearly
Camelot
hacking
game that's like
conference,
12
DEF
years
CON,
or something.
and won some pretty important events there with the help of his team that he...
I mean, I've been to DEF CON. It's a huge security thing. Big thing with DEF CON, don't go in with your phone like in anything but airplane mode. Better yet, just bring a burner phone that you don't give a shit about. I guess what year was he there? I don't remember seeing him necessarily, but maybe I wasn't there that year.
And all it took was people going there and reviewing it negatively.
I want to see this.
He was hoping that this would steer off the criticism and the scrutiny and that things would eventually finally go back to normal, but the haters weren't really done just yet. People were putting into question his entire identity. The fact that he worked at Blizzard for 7 years, but worked what exactly? As well as him claiming that he was one hell of a hacker who had gone to the yearly hacking conference, DEF CON, and won some pretty important...
I don't remember, like, I don't remember if some of these things you could just buy. I don't remember if you were, like, given these as trophies in 2017. When did I go to DEF CON? Last I went to DEF CON had to be between 2015 and 2018. Now, maybe 2014 and 2018. I would have to pull stuff up. I went as I was part of a small company at the time called Viking Works, but we weren't there for like a hacking convention. We were there just to learn about some of the newer security tech in the industry. It wasn't like a huge thing. It was just more of something for fun kind of a thing, and it was just worth it because we got to go for basically a free trip to Vegas kind of a deal. But some of these things were like either door gifts of sorts based off of what level you paid for. And some of these, I don't remember all of these being like award type items. a lot of these were things that you would get or you could buy effectively as like souvenirs. They weren't necessarily like trophies, right? I don't know, but here's the thing though. There was a lot of random fucking trophies and things that were given out for some really basic shit at DEF CON 2, just like every other convention.
Events there with the help of his team that he never mentioned, of course. Always taking credit for this by himself.
Yeah, like I don't remember, is this his team or did he just get a picture with them? See, that's the thing. So maybe you could take pictures with a lot of teams. I don't remember. I don't know.
I mean, at some point he was invited to a podcast called Dropped Frames. This was a clip from it, and here's the title: PirateSoftware on how he became a hacker for the government. These were the stories that he was telling people. Watch this.
You're a hacker. Like that's where you like kind of started.
Actual hacker.
An actual hacker. Like,
Yes.
Not like I'm a hacker. No, you're an actual
Not a
hacker.
kid.
You won.
He's not a script kiddie, is what he's saying? Okay.
Like an actual hacker.
Yeah,
Yeah, my last job was hacking power plants for the federal government. I
Yeah.
worked for the United States Department of Energy.
Like, I mean, you can absolutely... So he was doing potentially white hat hacking, right? A lot of white hack stuff... Or not white hack. A lot of white hat stuff is very specific. Like it sounds like he's talking about, like, gray hat hacking, right? But it's probably... If this is somehow anyway true, it's likely white hack. Or, I keep saying hack. White hat hacking. Which is very, like, scripted. So, and obviously it's not black hat, but...
So a dude walks in with a laptop and a suit, and you lean over to... Who's that guy? Well, that's the hacker from the government.
Yeah, that's the hacker.
Okay, so a lot of, like, hacking when you're talking about, like, government, like, based things. So, for instance, one of my professors was actually working for NPS, so Naval Postgraduate School, but he was also doing, like... various hacking type things for the government, but his stuff was mostly like testing, base level security things, like for instance, one of the easy ones was, he broke into a government building with a fucking coat hanger and a paper towel, because what they did was they had those like, and these were like bulletproof doors. You could run into it with a car at 60 miles an hour and it would still hold up. But you can break into it if there's a gap underneath the bottom, and you can rotate it up and brush the fire escape button effectively, and it just opens the door. Those are things that you fix potentially as a white hat hacker for the government, because you're not just doing potentially, coding type security or like actual like legitimate network security in any way. Some of it is actual like social engineering type security. It does depend on what your actual qualifications are. My professor was qualified in a lot of crazy shit. I could actually call him up and probably get him on stream. He's still a professor. He's no longer at NPS, but he does teach over at a college somewhere in the Midwest. I could probably get him on stream for fun. We could actually ask him have like a security stream. That could be fun. I don't like, he actually has a YouTube channel. But most of it's teaching his own classes and things. I don't know. That kind of sounds interesting.
we go in like 3 to 4 man teams, man. So like we've got a team of
Oh, you
dudes
had a
looking
fleet.
like
You had
this.
like a team of dudes in
It
suits
wasn't just
holding
me.
laptops.
I mean, a lot of it's just jeans and a fucking t-shirt. I mean, for like government stuff, it's not really.
Walking into restricted areas. Okay.
Yeah,
When he
that's not how
says
that works
things like
usually.
this, what
roles were him being in quality assurance for the first 4 years at Blizzard. So the majority of his
Okay, so that's all QA testing. Obviously, that has nothing to do with coding in general. He may have learned some stuff in the background. He may have done other things, but his actual like job title is going to be, just testing stuff. So a lot of people can be a game tester, and you don't even need a degree for that.
time there, he was in an entry-level role, eventually being promoted multiple times and finishing off as a senior red team specialist.
Okay, so he was a senior red team specialist in Blizzard. I see. So that's how that worked. Okay. I mean, okay, so the QA thing. like, for instance, basically what he did, though, from what it looks like, is he was a QA tester, and then he took a course within Blizzard itself. Basically, Blizzard likely gave him some sort of career jump, and then they started. They needed a security engineer, and they're like, "Well, you probably have enough base qualifications, and all you need is like a certification or two to start in that." And you're like, "All right, cool. I will just jump. You'll get the certification you need, and we'll just jump you forward." Right? That's kind of how that worked. So he wasn't even working in the government for this. This is just specifically through Blizzard, right? That's fine. This is all basic security stuff for, I mean, there's nothing wrong with this necessarily. I just think it's interesting that people put so much effort into it.
In his own description of the job, he said, infiltrated and exploited physical access controls, managed social engineering operations to improve employee awareness and resilience, and finally created, launched, and managed a global web application bounty program. As Coding Jesus said, this guy would literally just send phishing emails, make phone calls, try to pretend to be an outsider in order to have employees make mistakes so that they can improve.
It might not even been that difficult. Like, it could have been even easier, not just from phishing emails and stuff, because a lot of that stuff internally wouldn't necessarily work very well. It was probably running penetration testing software within the system itself, and then writing reports. That's the majority of what he probably did.
Internal protocols. I mean, it's an important job, that's for sure. But even on his LinkedIn, he would make claims that he worked on all these different games. I mean, yeah, indirectly, but none of your code made it to the game. You didn't model, you didn't texture, and you sure as hell didn't animate. You just so happened to work on internal projects in parallel.
Yeah, so he wasn't a coder in Blizzard in any way, in any sort or form. That is unlikely to be true. I doubt he was a coder. Now, he could have been coding on the side, and maybe he learned some stuff from other devs within Blizzard. Absolutely. You can, if you actually pay attention, you can absolutely do that. That's probably why his game actually functions. But yeah, I mean, it looks like more like he was a security pen tester.
Parallel to these
which
games.
is great.
And yet,
I mean,
every time someone would mention something
same.
about games, about the video game industry, about whatever, he would always start off by saying, I worked 7 years at Blizzard, actually, so I know what I'm talking about. When in reality, no, you have more experience as an indie developer than you ever had as a developer at a AAA company, and that's the truth. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just that he made this such an important...
He lied by omission is why a lot of people are pissed off, right? Obviously, this is a lie by omission. Yeah, working at Blizzard, people automatically are going to assume that you're a game developer of some sort, right? So in this regard, absolutely, that's not great. But I mean, what else is fucking new on the internet?
An integral part of his personality that it felt like a massive betrayal. But that's not all. His dad was Joey Ray Hall. This picture right here is of 10 people. And if you don't know who they are, these people happen to be the original founders of Blizzard Entertainment. Yes, these guys are legends in every sense of the word. And the guy in the middle is none other than Jason Thorhall's father. He later became...
Well, that explains the hair.
The director of cinematics at Blizzard, which is probably the only thing that Blizzard has been consistently good at for the last 20 years. He was also the inspiration behind this guy in South Park from the famous World of Warcraft episode. I mean, this guy was a legend in every sense of the word. And so Mashable.com, when they made this article about PirateSoftware titled How Streamer PirateSoftware Gained Nearly 2 million subs in 6 months, they just had to mention the fact that he's a Nepo baby, saying when he was 16, he landed a dream job as a game tester at Blizzard Entertainment, which before the bloated loot boxes and corporate acquisition by Microsoft for $68.7 billion was considered one of the most respected.
I asked my dad for help getting a job into the tech industry, and he's like, no. And then walked away. I'm like, oh.
companies in the video game industry. It helped that he was a Nepo baby, since his dad, Joey Ray Hall, had spent over 2 decades at the industry titan since almost the very beginning. Now,
so I guess the question here, though, is did his dad help him get the job? Maybe, maybe not. We don't entirely know if that's 100% true. It's very easy to assume, though, it is likely true.
Of course, after 6 months, he would leave because he felt that the corporate life wasn't for him, and many years later would reapply by himself without the help of his dad, landing a QA role, which I believe.
Okay. So he probably did get the first job was probably through his dad's connections, right? The second job, maybe that could have given him a boost. It really depends. A lot of big companies will do nepotism in a lot of ways, but they may not. It really kind of depends, because there is a chance when he came back, he actually had the skills when he applied the second time. Even if he's, objectively a shit person, right?
Because if he had the help of his dad, no way he would end up in an entry-level position. But still, just them including this sentence, calling him a Nepo baby, truly triggered him beyond belief. I mean, look at what he had to say.
Yeah, really not a fan of that. Not a fan of that. It's just...
I mean, a lot of people wouldn't want to be called, basically be called out for having a job for nepotism, especially if you might actually be qualified. So when he was 16, he obviously probably wasn't qualified for anything. Although being qualified as a game tester doesn't require shit. You can be just any random person on the street as long as you can get to the building. They don't care as long as you can get into the damn building to do the testing, because you can't do it from home, obviously. So that's not necessarily a nepotism thing. That's just base entry-level garbage job. And those are the worst jobs ever at game companies. They are just fucking hell. It sounds great until you realize you are stuck in the same level for 3,000 hours. Because you're basically trying to find a crack in every point of the code, right? As for, going back to it, if he had the skill set, then he had the skill set. If he didn't have the skill set and he still got the job, then I would say that was a nepotism.
It's one of those things that I've been trying to fight my entire career. It's one of the things that I've had to argue with people in chat about. It's one of the things that we ban people for here. Anytime people say shit like that, because it's deeply disrespectful and it completely overwrites any of the things that I've done throughout my career as something that is somebody else's success, which they have not been in any possible respect. And it's just rude as fuck. So, what do you say? In the thing, he said it was he called me a Nepo baby in his article. No.
Well, I mean, he did it when he was 16, right? When he was 16, it could have been nepotism, sure. But it may not have been. I mean, that is it 100% guaranteed? Maybe. But I think that still could potentially be a reach. Like, it really depends on the second hiring, really.
That's dog shit behavior. Really gross.
Blizzard won't come back and say anything about it, though.
I mean, you heard him, right? He would ban people in chat if they called him a Nepo baby.
A lot of people would do that. A lot of people ban people for stupid shit reasons. I mean,
easiest way to trigger him. And yet, at the same time, the same guy who's acting triggered over being called Nepo baby said this multiple times on his stream. Watch.
So I'm second generation Blizzard. I'm the first second generation Blizzard employee that ever existed in the company. I'm also a second generation Blizzard employee.
That doesn't necessarily... Okay, so even saying this doesn't necessarily mean he's a nepotism baby. That's not exactly... He could have still gotten there with his own ability, right? I don't know if he actually has the ability. So, for instance, did he actually get degrees or anything like that? Automatically calling someone out for nepotism only works if it's actually like 100% true, right?
Second generation Blizzard employee. I was the first second generation Blizzard employee ever. I was the first second generation Blizzard employee.
Okay.
And I love that shit. I love that company. Working for Blizzard sucked.
Again, a lol cow is someone who is unintentionally hilarious when being 100% serious, and I just can't stop laughing at this guy.
I mean, I could absolutely see working for Blizzard sucking if you're a game tester. It is fucking awful as a game tester in any fucking company. Like, I don't fucking care how much you like game testing. It is one of the most brutal jobs on the planet where you're just sitting in front of a screen, especially during crunch week. Fuck crunch week in anything. I don't care what you're doing. I don't know. I don't know if I can say he's a nepotism baby just based off of that. I can see why people would reach for it.
I was the first second-generation Blizzard employee? What is this?
Okay, so what? That just means no one else in the family of any of the founding creators got hired. Who gives a shit?
It's the Chinese dynasty? Like, what are you even talking about? And let's be
it's
real
just
here.
something
The
funny
only
for
reason
people
you
to
were
say.
the first second-generation Blizzard employee was purely because of your dad. Because back then, they didn't even have a recruiting team. You were just the easiest hire. And I think one thing he has to...
Well, yeah. I mean, it's a game testing job. That's it. That's just a job for game testers. It had to just be within, one of these 10 people basically had to have a kid and who wanted to actually work at the same company with their dad. I would never have wanted to work with my dad at any fucking company. I assume a lot of these parents, if they have kids in any way, were like, fuck that, I'm going to go work at McDonald's.
To understand is that being a Nepo baby isn't a bad thing. I think most
it's a
people, if they
great
had
way
a
to get
dad
into
or a
it.
mom who worked a really cool job, they would...
It's a great way to get into a foot in the door. But you got to have the fucking skills to back that shit up.
love to take advantage of that, and they do. For example, Jack Quaid is an actor that was called a Nepo baby multiple times by fans. That's because his parents are both Dennis Quaid and Meg Ryan, two very successful actors. His response was very refreshing for fans, agreeing with the Nepo baby label and saying, "I'm an immensely privileged person. I don't think it undermines my talent." Adding that he was able to get representation pretty early on because of being a Nepo baby, and that it's already more than half the battle. So as I said, being a Nepo baby isn't inherently a bad thing. It's only bad when you try to deny it, when you get defensive, because come on, who are you lying to? And that was what PirateSoftware was doing. It was becoming more and more
when
obvious
did he
that
lie about it?
PirateSoftware had a massive ego, but also very deep-rooted insecurities. He wanted to appear like a genius no matter what. And according
he absolutely is like one of those people that are like, I'm right, you're wrong, I don't give a fucking shit, fuck you.
to him, geniuses never apologize. Geniuses never admit fault. But they
I
also
don't think he
never
gives a
make
shit.
mistakes and always, no matter what, figure things out on stream. This is something that became painfully obvious when he would play some pretty hard puzzle games and would figure out some of the hardest things all by himself miraculously after looking at his phone.
Oh, someone was cheating on stream.
Playing it off like it was some genius eureka moment. Outer Wilds is a critically acclaimed, story-rich
I was told
space
I had to play this
exploration
game.
game that just so happens to have some pretty complex puzzles.
Oh,
PirateSoftware
God,
would
I'm
play this
awful with
game
puzzles.
on stream, and he would proceed to solve these puzzles all by himself, miraculously,
it's on sale right
and
now.
more specifically, after looking at his phone. In the VOD of his gameplay, around 8 hours and 7 minutes, he gets stuck in an area and he needs to get out somehow. This is one of the many puzzles in this game. Now he would struggle to find the solution, deliberate with his chat, talk a bunch, and then at around the 8:20 mark, he would pull out his phone right here and continue talking to chat.
You could obviously see him fucking looking down at something.
This goes on for 2 minutes, in which he deliberates while very clearly looking at his phone. And then eventually, at around the 8-hour, 22-minute mark, he would get a eureka moment.
Maybe it's not with the scanner. Maybe there's a different way. Maybe it's not the scanner at all. Maybe it's the time. Maybe the fact that we were able to destroy the surface like that was the point. Huh.
Okay, yeah, this is definitely fake. Okay, now I guess the question I have here though is did his chat notice, or did only people notice after the fact, then they started like going through every fucking second of his videos? I guess it doesn't really matter when you're talking to your own chat, right?
Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
Okay. Okay, this is funny. Yeah.
I have an idea.
Guys, wait a minute. Oh my god, I have an idea. Guys, oh my god. This just came out of nowhere. My brain just works differently.
Does it matter that he actually fucking cheated? Does it really matter?
Did I mention that I worked 7 years at Blizzard?
Yeah.
This would spread like wildfire on Reddit. This guy is faking his Outer Wilds run in order to appear to be a genius to his community. That's crazy.
Like, his community gives a fuck. I doubt they cared. They probably knew he cheated the whole time. I love how a lot of people, though, will make a ton of, like, other videos about it because they're like, oh, man, if we talk about this shit, I'm going to get so many fucking views. Hell yeah. We're going to make so much ad revenue. This is perfect.
It's so ridiculous you can't even believe it. But as I already mentioned, he was facing
it's all the same for every channel.
He normally would have been able to get away with this, and he did get away with this in other games. It's just that now things were different. When questioned about cheating...
Yeah, but I wonder if his own, like, followers watch any of these videos. I doubt it. Like, I'm watching this video, but I'm not going to go watch PirateSoftware because I don't fucking care about PirateSoftware necessarily. His own followers are going to keep watching him. They're not going to watch videos necessarily on this. And even if they did, only 5% will drop because of it. And that's only if they have any sort of moral compass. So we'll say 2%.
In Outer Wilds, this is what he had to say.
Why did you cheat in Outer Wilds?
Because it's fun.
How the hell would you cheat in that game?
Okay, to be fair, this is him doubling down in something obviously a problem. Well, not a problem. Obviously him, like, cheating, right? It's obvious. Yeah, a lot of people watch him for hate watching, right? But, like, in my case, the people be like, hey, oh, this video. Yeah, no, I mean... He is annoying, but there's a lot of things wrong with these types of videos too when you actually break them down and you're like, well, a lot of people would do that shit. That's it. I mean, just a lot of people would do this shit as an actual person. Yeah, it might be shitty in certain ways, but, like, I don't see how Pirate's honestly that much different from any other average person. It's that, like, I need for fame kind of deal, right? Like, overall though, like if people called me out for cheating, I'd be like, oh yeah, that was pretty funny, wasn't it? I totally fucking cheated in that. Absolutely. But in my case, it doesn't hurt me in any way because I just don't care. And it's more fun, I think, when everyone can, like, come together and, like, especially with me as a streamer and whatnot, or just YouTuber in general. I like when I called Zentrea out as an AI, for instance. Like, yeah, you're right. He doesn't own up to anything at all. And a lot of YouTubers, content creators, stars, anyone, they won't do it because they think it's going to damage their image or their income to such a level. And I kind of get that over time. Like, for instance, if I ever get big enough to a point where I'm doing stupid shit like this, call me out and tell me, remember this video. All right? Bring this video up, clip it, whatever, and send it to me. You're right. So, for instance, my eye patch, right? This is a perfect example, kind of, to a degree. All right? Especially if you're a new viewer. All right? I am not 100% blind. All right? In fact, I'm not blind more or less in any way. I have a horrible vision. My current subscription, my current prescription is negative 9.75, and like negative 5, or no, sorry. One eye is negative 9.75, one is negative 9.5. That's pretty bad, but it's not anywhere near legally blind. Legally blind is like negative 40, right? I don't use an eye patch, though, because I'm blind. I have double vision problems, which is totally fine. I could probably watch a lot of these videos, but right now what's happening across the screen is my right eye there's a ton of random floaters going across the screen right now, and everything is... It causes problems for me to pay attention to anything on screen. But a lot of new viewers coming in may not know. They might think I'm automatically blind. And we've done plenty of like Q&As and things when people have asked questions about my eye patch. And, obviously we kind of leaned into the pirate thing, and I now have this fucking... Look at this. I have this, like, pirate thing that can sit on my shoulder, but it's having issues with the green screen because it's like going invisible and shit. So I have to figure out a solution to this bird. But so we definitely leaned into the pirate thing on this channel, right? We have all custom little pirate shit and other things, and the theme is all kind of like pirate based and whatnot now. But like it's kind of along the same lines, right? I cheated with the eye patch. I'm not blind, right? Yeah, and I can totally kind of get where that comes from. Should we call the parrot static? That's actually a good idea. The only issue is, like, is it annoying for you guys to see it on screen? Because it's, like, moving, right? So, like, technically, I don't need the eye patch to see. However, I actually can't really drive without it. I don't really drive often regardless, but it makes things, like, really hard to pay attention to. For instance, though, when we play games, a lot of times I won't necessarily use the eye patch because my vision does get slightly better when I can focus on things, even with the annoying floaters and whatnot. So what I'll try to do when I play games and whatnot is I will try to play the game for an hour or two without the eye patch. And then what we'll do is I'll give my eye a break and I'll put the patch on for an hour or so. And then I'll try and play later because unfortunately my gaming, even if it's shit, gets even worse with the patch on because even though it fixes some of the double vision problems, I still lose a lot of like spatial awareness effectively, which is a bit of a problem. So I mean, yeah, I kind of get that, right? To a degree. The fact though is, in my case, anyone ever tells me, let's say I cheated in a game, right? As we get bigger or something like that, and I'm obviously fucking looking at my phone. Oh, I figured it out. But I generally, what I'll do is I'll be on screen, be like, I cheated and I looked at my phone, guys. But if you ever see that and I'm actually like being serious or something, fucking clip this and call me out on it. Right? So, and I will probably be like, oh yeah, you guys got me. Whereas it looks like Pirate's just like, no, I didn't fucking cheat. You're all wrong.
Bro, we played it all live on stream.
Yeah.
All right, bud.
He just ignored it. Oh, shit. Yeah, well, I fell off a long time ago.
It's a wild-ass thing to say.
Yes, how would you cheat while live streaming this as he stares into his phone for 2 straight minutes? You're absolutely right. The real controversy would be when he would play the game Animal Well that released on May 2024.
That game looks nice.
You see, he played this game before the World of Warcraft controversy and before the increased scrutiny. But after he had embarrassed himself
so people went back and fucking went through all his shit.
Outer Wilds and World of Warcraft, people thought to go back and check his gameplay because they thought, wait, now that I think about it, this was kind of suspicious. And the evidence here was damning.
So I'm guessing Animal Well is a huge puzzle game, right? And he just cheated his whole way through it, didn't he?
Was simply undeniable. You see, Animal Well is a puzzle game, but not just any puzzle game.
A hard
it has
one.
many puzzles and many secrets that are very easy to miss if you don't take your time analyzing every aspect of it. When the game first came out, you had people on Reddit and in forums trying to work together in order to find all of its secrets and puzzles. One of those puzzles was the Wingding puzzle. This took the entire community over a week of teamwork in order to find the solution.
I mean, a week is not a bad time frame. Some fucking puzzles in like Fez take fucking months.
The group effort in every way, and no one person could have solved it by themselves.
I will say something interesting about gamers is gamers are incredibly good at solving puzzles, just in general. Like recently, a bunch of gamers helped solve like certain math proofs that have been like impossible to solve for like a century. So that's always interesting when it comes to gamers. Gamers are incredible problem solvers, but a lot of times they don't have like the attention spans like for long period type stuff to like actually work on like a fucking rocket or some other actual bullshit.
The guide came out on May 19th, 2024, and it just so happens that PirateSoftware miraculously, all by himself on stream, solved this puzzle on May 19th, the day the guide came out. I mean, bro, seriously? You'd also have some
I
people
doubt
write
it.
entire essays with proof as to why they think that PirateSoftware cheated. If you want to read this and have actually played Animal Well, you can...
I guess one of the bigger problems with the way he's potentially cheating on stream is the fact that he's got, such a big following. You're looking at, earning upwards of $2,000 to $5,000 a stream, and people think you're really, really good at something, and you're maybe not as good as you're claiming to be, kind of a deal, right? So I could see that potentially being a problem, but people donate money for dumbass reasons all the time.
pause the video, but in a nutshell, it's almost like he was trying his hardest to ruin any ounce of reputation he had left. I mean, seriously, are you that insecure that you would cheat in a fucking puzzle game in order?
Okay, I mean, a lot of people fucking cheat in games. I don't understand the line of thinking for this one. People fucking cheat all the time. Riley CS was the perfect example recently. They cheat for no fame at all, even if you're just a regular fucking person.
To appear to be a genius to your community? Really?
Yes,
it's
people
insanity.
absolutely will do
but
this
this
shit.
was reality because, as I said earlier, this
It's
scrutiny
not-
was disassembling
No,
every
that's normal.
aspect of his
I'm
brand
sorry.
and personality, even down to his most fundamental traits, like his own voice. People would somehow
funny.
unearth this old clip of him at a convention in which he sounded completely different than how he sounds today, leading many to believe that he's either faking his voice or simply using a voice changer on his microphone. Listen to this.
Show been so far?
It's actually been amazing. It's our first time out here at Denver Comic Con, and there's so many people, and they love the games, so it's been awesome.
So speaking of games, what do you have for us today?
So we have Champions of Breakfast, which is a twin-stick shooter that we made in 24 days from concept to release on Steam. Blew up. It was really, really awesome.
I mean, they could also be using a shit mic.
And that game is pretty difficult, so if you're into really hard arcade games, that's the kind of thing for you.
That sounds like a shit mic, doesn't it?
You know what, though? To be fair, he sounds like such a pleasant person here. This is someone I can see myself being friends with. Look, people want to theorize and say that he has a voice changer or is faking his voice. I think he was just killed by an evil clone. I think that's a better explanation. This, of course, wouldn't be the only clip where you'd hear him have a different voice, like this one, for example.
Well, here's the thing. So, for instance, there's a lot of like the super high-end podcasting mics that actually make your voice like completely different. Just by having high-end mics. So I think my voice would still sound like garbage regardless. I don't think there's a lot of helping me unless I actually use a legit voice changer at this point. But in general, the higher the end mic, the better your voice is going to sound, and you can tweak it here and there. But I don't know how it matters whether or not he's using a fake voice or not is irrelevant, because like, what the hell is like 90% of fucking VTubers? VTubers all use fake voices. It doesn't really matter if you're lying to your community about your voice. You changed it? Wait, there's a clip of Pirate saying that his voice changed. Oh, it changed a lot naturally. Maybe. Like, his voice could have changed slightly over time. I don't know if it's maybe a lot. Maybe it's less. Who knows? Maybe it's the fact that he has better fucking microphones than whatever the fuck they were using.
You're gonna have to peel my hot dog. I have to peel it. Every good hot dog needs to be peeled. Every good hot dog needs to be peeled. You see, now that I've peeled the hot dog, it's ready to eat.
Look, a hot dog is
That's
about
right.
to be eaten by Thor.
It's ready to
Let's
eat.
demand he smears
Okay, look, if you're not convinced yet, here's a more recent clip of him playing Animal Well. This was around a year ago, back in
That's
2024. Look.
I don't know what that gives me, though.
I don't know what is that supposed to do? How am I gonna fit that shit in there? Oh, god damn it.
To some people, this was his voice changer glitching. To others, this was him mistakenly getting too comfortable with his real voice. What does...
I mean, maybe. Who gives a fuck? Yeah, like for instance, I mean, my voice. Okay, so my voice gets like way higher when I'm doing a stupid fucking laugh because I'm laughing at something, right? I don't know. Is he using a voice changer? Maybe. Is he maybe using a bit of additional software on his system that just makes his voice sound a little bit more smooth? That's more likely true. Does it fucking matter? Who the fuck cares? Like, even if you don't like him because he's a shit person, right? Who cares if he's using a voice changer? What the fuck?
Does PirateSoftware
How
have to
is this
say
an
about
argument?
this? Well, apparently, according to his doctor, his voice went through a second puberty in his 30s.
Okay, that's
right.
stupid.
Apparently, your balls can drop twice, but I could only find a handful of sources on this, and this article from the BBC pretty much
Interesting.
sums it up by saying that as we get older, the larynx gets stiffer, making the
Right,
vocal
which
cords
makes it-
less flexible. I mean, this
Right.
isn't new. When you talk to someone who's 90 years old, they'll sound different than what they used to sound like in their 20s. But to have
Right.
this much of a dramatic change, that's crazy. Regardless, though, I mean, the pressure was getting to PirateSoftware. Not only was his game getting scrutinized, not only was his past out in the open, but people were criticizing his gameplay, the way he played games, and even his voice. Things were getting out of control.
Yeah, the voice thing is stupid to me, but I mean, people get mad about dumb shit.
So the next thing you know, he was on stream with a psychologist.
Okay, so the healthy gamer, which is this guy, he's definitely a psychologist to a degree, but like he just has tons of YouTubers on doing various things. It's not really like a huge deal to be on his channel necessarily, because he'll call in people from all over the space and of every creator size. So
by the name of Dr. K. Alok Kanogia, otherwise known as Dr. K, runs the healthygamer.gg
It's an interesting
organization. He's a clinical psychologist who founded this brand in order to be able to reach the very big and growing demographic of gamers, a group of...
This is actually pretty good. Like I first learned about him when I was so way back. I told a few people. I'm not sure how many people know this, but I actually went into effectively a version of rehab for gaming. It was technically outpatient, so I wasn't like in a building or anything, but I had a massive team of people, so effectively I had therapy about 4 times a week kind of a thing for about 6 hours a day. This would have probably helped me a lot. Having a channel like this, because it probably took longer. There are like Gamers Anonymous type programs and things. Now I do play games, but I don't play games like I used to. I used to play like we were talking like 22 hours a day, sleep 2 hours, attempt to play another 22 hours, then sleep like 30 hours. So I used to be like really, really addicted to video games, in a very not healthy way. Yeah, effectively, that's actually kind of how it was. It's a lot of it's the same in a lot of ways. Now, in my case, I did harm reduction, so it wasn't like full cutout of games. But now I can play games for like 2 to 4 hours a week. Or if I'm streaming, we might do stuff longer. But I'm no longer doing 22-hour sessions anymore. I have other fucking things to do. But for a long time, like 2 years or so, I didn't need to work. I had enough like savings and whatnot, and it wasn't a problem. And it was around the time Destiny 1 came out. And it was not good. Let's just go with that. So so that's the thing. So with my eye, I don't know if any of my tech stuff has ever affected it. It's possible. However, glaucoma does run in my family, and not in a small way. So it's more, in my case, it's potentially more linked to certain genetic things within me and within my family. I also have another very specific genetic condition, which is more complicated, and it's more likely linked to that. So unfortunately, it's probably, the upside is it's probably not gaming. So if you're a gaming addict, it's more likely you're not going to have this issue just right out the gate. It's potentially more of a genetic problem, which is good for most people because you don't want this shit ever. Now, it does make gaming harder, though, which is probably another reason I don't play so many hours a day anymore. It's just because I just physically can't without having, like, not a seizure, but like splitting headaches is probably the biggest thing. The double vision's a huge problem, but I get headaches from it. So it's unlikely that this is caused by gaming directly. Now, the arthritis in my hands, that's most likely caused by holding a fucking controller. Or just, keyboard typing and whatnot.
People who very often will struggle with mental health and not really seek out therapy when they should. His content is mostly educational, drawing parallels between video games and what you go through mentally, and overall, he's been quite successful. Now, of course, that's not to say that he doesn't have his fair share of haters. Some people, for example, have criticized the fact that he does these therapy sessions with streamers in public, even though
that is potentially risky just for the fact that, you're pulling up a bunch of private stuff, right? Which a lot of streamers may accidentally reveal information they don't want to reveal live on stream, and then it becomes permanent. Now, having said that, streamers should know what they're getting themselves into when they go into these sessions. Now, from what I understand, is Dr. K doesn't always do 100% live streams. They actually also do kind of like a closed door one where it's edited out, but I'm not 100% sure on that. So we could check out some of that stuff, but that's not really criticism I can point towards him, because these people are also signing off on doing these streams, and they don't have to answer. He makes that clear. He's like, if you don't want to answer, don't answer, right?
The person in question consents to it. From Dr. K's perspective, though, he wants to show people that streamers are humans too. And if someone like those streamers that they idolize is brave enough to get therapy, then they can do so too. His conversation with PirateSoftware would last over 3 hours and a half. It would get viewed by almost 1 million people, and having watched a good chunk of it, I can tell you right now, regardless of what you might think about Dr. K, I think this stream truly shows his incredible skill in being able to converse with such an obvious narcissist without having him rage quit the call, while still trying his best to give him a reality check. And for you to understand that, I want you to watch this clip.
For this shit right now is like, they come in and they're like, did you know that he worked at Blizzard for 7 years? Like, yeah, that was my career, and I'm proud of that. So of course I'm going to talk about that, because it gives context to talk about other things around the games industry, which is what we do on the stream.
Well, we could finish it on my side. Don't worry, it wouldn't be a 3-hour stream. It'd be an 8-hour stream.
Yeah.
So I think sometimes things that I talk...
I think we'll probably not do anything Pirate Software based for a while, because this is going to be a massive fucking video on my end, and it's going to be an interesting reaction on the YouTube channel. Because unfortunately here, I see Pirate as a flawed person, but not like evil fucking incarnate like a lot of people do. So in my case, I see him as flawed, but I still see him as a general, typical, just how I could see a lot of people reacting in general. A lot of people put on this way better face when they're online and kind of put themselves up on a bit of a pedestal to be kind of better. Not everyone, but a lot of people do that. And Pirate just doesn't seem to give a fuck. So I do plan to, well, I will see some very mixed reviews on YouTube for this video because of that, because I'm kind of I know he's lying. I know Pirate's lying a lot about a lot of shit. It's obvious, all right? He absolutely is trying to look smarter than he is at any cost. You're right. Absolutely. But in the grand scheme of things, that's detrimental to himself a lot, but that's not really the world's worst character flaw. It's an annoying one though. It's definitely annoying, but obviously his own viewers just think it's funny, and they like it for some reason, and that's totally fine too.
Talk about in regards to those types of things is misconstrued as arrogance or boasting, when in reality I'm just trying to give context.
So that is the problem right there. So I want you to listen.
We can take a look at that. We should look at that before I end the stream today.
As arrogance, but in reality, it's this.
There was some interesting feedback on that.
That is the most arrogant statement on the planet, bro. Tell me I'm wrong.
Okay. I don't see it that way, but all right.
God, it must be so hard talking to someone like that. Anyway.
I don't know. It's not hard to talk to someone like that. It's just, it's hard to argue against them. You can talk to people like that all the time, but the problem is when you try to help them, they're going to take it as an attack. So what's going on right here is he thinks he's kind of being attacked, it feels like, right? So he's going to double down and triple down. And I think that's kind of his problem in the fact that he can't take criticism very well. And that's going to hurt him definitely over time. But the problem for everyone else is, yeah. So yeah, you're right. That's kind of how it kind of feels, right? Like he couldn't really, and the biggest problem, you know, I see with that is, it's going to be hard for him to grow as a streamer. He might just be kind of stuck in like a loop for a bit. However, he's making enough money to where it may not matter. And that's going to be the biggest thing for a lot of streamers. Is the whole point is to make a living off of this. Even if it's doing the same shit over and over. You know, you're not going to maybe become the biggest ones in the world, but that may not matter. You just need to be big enough to make a living that you care about. And that's what a lot of streamers probably kind of aim for.
In the next clip,
least
you'll
I
be
think.
seeing the
I could be
logic
wrong.
behind Pirate Software's attitude
what I would aim
when it
for.
comes to never apologizing.
Let me
Like not give any context whatsoever?
Yeah. Let's say yes to that. I think that's a bit of hyperbole, but
just an emotional response?
No, just say, "Hey guys." So basically, you know, when you tell the narrative, you start with like, "I made a mistake, everyone made mistakes.
Right.
I was smug." And then there's a lot that comes after that. How would you feel about just ending it after that first paragraph?
I hate that.
Yep.
Okay.
I have like an immediate emotionally angry response against
Yeah, he thinks he's being attacked instantly. So okay, I get his personality a little bit more now. Then I think Pirate's gonna just have a problem to where he won't ever back down on anything he thinks is, you know, like even if he knows he's wrong, I doubt he will ever like apologize for that in any way unless it's like something truly awful. In this case, it's just more annoying to him, right?
It's very good.
Because it feels like idiocracy.
Yeah.
Okay.
It feels like that's too long, didn't read. I don't need all those words when few words do gooder. That I hate that shit. Like I super hate that kind of communication of like there's a lot of people that say like, oh, you should just say my bad, guys. No, that does not in any way explain.
I mean, look, in a lot of ways, if you think about it, he's not doing a typical YouTuber apology or something along those lines or streamer apology. He's standing by what he says, even if everyone else fucking hates it. So, as far as that goes, I mean, whether his convictions are bad or not, he seems to be sticking by them regardless of what happens. So there's that.
Situation that doesn't tell you any information that is real. It is hand waving for the masses in a way that is disingenuous to what happened and disingenuous to the people that are involved. I feel like to do that would be just me lying for the sake of lying so that people would fuck off.
This really gave us an insight as to how his mind functions. And as you heard from
I think a lot of people actually function that way in certain ways, but a lot of people will back down and say sorry because they know, especially if they're like smaller, like a smaller creator, or if they're, if they're risking their actual job in real life, people will back off because they can't afford to be homeless. People who don't back off can afford to lose everything on their whatever, and they'd still be fine in most cases. And I think that's where like a big, huge jump in difference is right here. So you'd expect people to apologize if they cared about, losing income. But I don't know. Like if he's good enough at saving, he probably does this now for free. Like it's kind of like Asmongold, right? Asmongold's a good example of someone who doesn't give a fuck and more or less 99% of the time stands behind any of the insane shit they choose to say. Why? Because he is rich beyond belief, but lives like shit. He has enough money to live like trash for the foreseeable eternity. And that's the reality, is when you no longer have to do anything for money and you're just doing it based off of how much you can live off of, you can say anything you want and be totally fucking fine. And I think that's the big thing
From him
here.
talking, he hates the idea of just saying, my bad, let's move on. I'm sorry, let's
'Cause
move on.
Asmund
he wants
will
to
never
sit
say
there
my
and
bad
type
in
12
most cases.
paragraphs as to why he was wrong, but not really, while other
The one time he did say he was wrong, kind of, was because he was being kicked out of like Starforge or whatever, right? Of course, Asmund's. Okay, to be fair, Asmund's stupid hygiene thing is because he every time he goes to the bathroom, people are like, "Did you wash your hands?" And he has that stupid fucking line. That's Asmund's own fault for creating that dumb narrative, but now he just leans into it. It's clean. Yeah, seriously. But like, you know, when I'm watching this, I'm like, why would Pirate back down from this? Why would he apologize? He's obviously made enough money, unless he's like hemorrhaging money by spending it everywhere, which I don't know. He doesn't seem kind of like the person that would go and buy $100 million car for no reason. Like, he seems like he'd buy stuff inside his house or whatnot, but I don't know if he actually has like a spending addiction like a lot of YouTubers. A lot of YouTubers go in, buy those stupid fucking YouTube houses and things like that, and then they hemorrhage money for years. But it doesn't seem like he's that kind of a person. He probably knows how to save money correctly. And that's what I'm getting out of this. And, you know, the upside of being able to save your money correctly is you can be a lot more open in what you say and not have any major repercussions. But that's just my kind of thing. Wait, Crowley only takes showers because she promised her... I mean, that would be totally different if she was like a live streamer. How the fuck are you going to prove that she stopped or didn't stop taking showers? She's a VTuber. How the fuck do you prove that? She can just fucking lie to all of you and you would never have a clue.
others were more wrong than him. All of a sudden, things make a lot of sense. Now, listen to how Dr. K responded to that. Okay, just...
He's gonna be like, oh.
So I think what I liked about that response, my hope, so we're not here to like rehab your PR, right? We're just here to have a conversation.
Yeah, okay. Do you guys trust me? I'd say 25%.
And at the same time, over the last 2 hours, there's something about the way that I hear you talk that rubs me the wrong way.
Yeah.
There's something about the way that you talk that seems
disingenuous. Kind of. No, not disingenuous. I think he's actually genuine in the way he talks. It's just I think he doesn't want to learn from anyone.
Dismissive.
Yeah, there we go.
So I'll tell you where that...
No, I agree with that.
Right? So it's like, I made a mistake, we all made mistakes.
Okay.
Right? So there's something about your sentence construction. It's like, oh yeah, Thor, I'm sorry I cheated on you, bro. I really do love you. You know, we both have flaws in this marriage.
I think the funny thing here is that Dr. K is known to be very caring, very nice, and not confrontational at all when it comes to streams like this. But in this case, seeing that he's an experienced psychologist, he knew when to become confrontational. He knew when to call out PirateSoftware.
Okay, so Dr. K actually has done shit like this before with other people. It's not just limited to him. It's just Pirate's the easiest one here because it's like blatantly in your face kind of shit, right?
On his bullshit. Yeah, and this is what it was. Bullshit.
Yeah, you're right.
In just a span of like 20 seconds, Dr. K had essentially summed up people's entire problem with PirateSoftware. When he would be criticized, when he would be given feedback, when he would be given advice, he was always dismissive and smug. And
yeah, because he just doesn't give a shit about what any of you guys think of him. He doesn't care. He no longer has to build his brand. He doesn't care.
Smugness is what led us here. People were hoping that this productive 3.5-hour conversation would actually lead somewhere, maybe actually make him apologize for once and take a step back.
Why?
But it didn't. His empire kept crumbling until we had finally reached the final nail in the coffin. Stop
Which is
killing games.
Oh yeah, okay. So the whole problem with that though is it hasn't killed his channel. Like I love YouTubers that are like his channel, his Twitch thing, everything's totally dead. Now he's only making $40,000 a week. The fuck? Okay, like to be fair, he's only making $4,000 a week on YouTube. Maybe we'll say $2,000 on the low end, and he's only probably making $5,000 a stream right now, maybe a little less. Oh, fucking YouTubers.
Stop Killing Games is an initiative launched by Ross
now this is
Scott in the
interesting.
European Union and the United Kingdom. It was meant to be a direct answer to what happened with the game The Crew, made by Ubisoft.
Yep.
At the end of December 2023, Ubisoft all of a sudden announced that The Crew would no longer be purchasable and that its servers would be going down on March 31st, 2024.
So the biggest problem with Stop Killing Games is a lot of games are live service only, right? What happens when a company deems that that live service game only is no longer profitable? Are you going to expect that company to run servers indefinitely? Like, should you expect them to run servers indefinitely? The answer is probably no, because what happens is if you're hemorrhaging money as a company running servers that you know only supply maybe, I don't know, we'll say 2,000 people, right? Why? But okay, so here's the other problem, and I'll get to that in a second. Okay, so first off, in most cases, most companies will automatically be like, no, this is no longer profitable anymore. We're not going to run servers anymore. We can't do it. Okay? Because you can't run these things for hundreds of years. You just can't. It doesn't make any sense. A company will not do that shit. And that's why they have all these TOS things built in. Now, you mentioned allow gamers to run servers. But there's a problem with that. And the biggest problem, and I don't know if Pirate talked about it, and this is a stupid problem. It shouldn't exist. But within the context of how trademarks work, copyright work, and very specific things work. If companies do not defend their products, they lose the rights to those products. So what can happen is if they do not stop people from creating private run servers, if they can, like if they're like locally run, if they do not stop them, there's a decent chance that in court they could lose access to being able to recreate like vaulted games of those for future. So for instance, The Crew, right? If they ever wanted to bring it back, they may no longer have the rights if they've allowed gamers to run private servers in the interim with no questions. They could actually lose the rights to their own game in many countries. It's not everywhere. Like for instance, Japan, it doesn't work like that. But you need to update the laws. But that is the way it works in the US in a lot of ways. And that is the way it works in Europe to a degree. You would need to update the laws. But the problem is the laws have not been updated. So it's based off of the current laws. And that's where a lot of gamers are like missing the point here. In the fact that, it's not necessarily about killing games, because a lot of these stupid companies will put their games into a vault that they will never reopen. Ever. But they're never ever plan to ever re-release the game. Ever. But the problem is they will not want to lose the IP effectively. Because it is their product. They don't want to lose it. Even if they never plan to release it ever again. And that's the huge... I have no idea what Pirate really thought. And I'm sure we'll get there in a second. But... And I totally get why, people would allow peer-to-peer servers. That could potentially work. But you would have to rewrite a lot of the game code, potentially, for peer-to-peer to work. And that's maybe. You would also potentially have to keep updating it. A lot of companies are not going to want to spend $50,000 to potentially do that change, because it would not be a cheap change. It would require a lot of effort and money, because you have to fucking pay someone to do it, or a team of people to do it quickly, right? And, you know, even if you pay a team over the course of 1 month to do it, that's easily $50, $100, $200,000, because, you know, all those people have salaries of, you know, effectively $6,000 to $7,000 a month or more, potentially, depending on where they live. And, like, that's kind of like the problem I see with the Stop Killing Games side is live service games specifically have into their TOS that if the servers go out, that's unfortunately all there is to it. But no one reads those things. And unfortunately, the terms of service for a company's games, movie, whatever you want to call it, are like 600 pages long. No one's going to read it. They're written in such a stupid way that no one will read it, and they'll just click accept. And they're almost like ironclad in most courts. There's just no way fucking around it. Like, for instance, I don't care, personally, because I don't play as many games. I have hundreds of games on my Xbox. If I lose access to certain ones, oh well. Yeah, I totally fucking paid for it 100%. But in my case, you know, I'm no longer a huge, like, gamer, so it's not really going to affect me in the same way that it affects a lot of people who love games. They love them. They want to never lose access to their... Mudahar is a perfect example, right? He loves old ROMs. He loves, you know, preserving the history of games. He loves everything about that. He's a very, very big proponent of the Stop Killing Games movement, right? Because it's, you know, for him, he's like, once you buy it, you should own it forever type of a guy, right? I generally rent things in my case. So in my case, you know, to me, it doesn't necessarily matter because I'll rent things for a specific amount of time. I don't care about owning something. So in my case, I'm not the best person to have this discussion with in general. I do understand companies, though, from a legal standpoint on how it works software-wise. Is it right? I would say no. I think Stop Killing Games has a good idea on what they're doing. I don't think it's going to work out in the way a lot of people think. Like, I know some of the companies are going to backtrack on certain things, but they're just going to kind of wait till the time dies down, and they're going to slowly start killing games over time. And they're just not going to say anything. They just won't tell people when the games are going to shut down. They're just going to shut them down and just be like, it wasn't profitable anymore. So, yeah, I don't even know if Stop Killing Games even went anywhere. I do remember hearing it about. I do think 1 or 2 companies backtracked on a few things. So, it may have worked a little bit, but I don't think it's going to work in the same way. And I kind of have an idea of where Pirate might go with this, but we'll see.
Seeing that this was a live service game, this meant that after March, you'd never be able to play this game ever again. The salt in the wound, though, was that barely a couple weeks after the servers went offline, Ubisoft revoked the crew from people who had bought it digitally, attaching a message saying, "You no longer have access to this game. Why not check the store to pursue your adventures?"
Okay, so... Okay, so that was stupid. Okay, like, if you're gonna do this... So they're effectively deleting access to something you purchased, right? So, yeah, okay, so I could see a problem with Ubisoft or whatever the fuck their name is, getting slammed for this shit right here. A lot of people like to keep games just in their inventory. Even if it's not even fucking playable anymore, right? I actually have a couple of games on the Xbox that are literally not fucking playable in any way. They just want to keep their stuff, right? Even if they can't access it. And, like, or allow them to be able to, like, download it, right? You know, if you could download your save file, I think a lot of people would have been happy with that. But, you know, to completely revoke effectively the library is going above and beyond, because storage-wise, that's probably not a lot of storage in general. It's more of what's costing to run a server, not what's costing to run a storage server. A storage server, you could potentially keep everyone's game saves for $10 a year across the world. Okay, we'll say $100 a year, right? And that's like a drop in the bucket for a company like that. Even if you had every single game in their damn collection, you're looking at maybe $2,500 a year, right? Yeah, the crew is only online, right? But, to keep everyone's game saves online, it probably wouldn't have cost a lot. But what it looks like is they were revoking access. If you're going to do this, you got to give everyone probably a refund. From a legal standpoint, maybe. I don't know. Maybe in the TOS it covered this. It may have. But this is a bad PR move on their end. Like, you can absolutely shut down your server. No problem. Just be like, it's no longer profitable anymore. We're shutting it down. Now, what you should do is give everyone a year, right? Don't shut it down 2 weeks before the game goes offline. Just stop making sales a year before it goes offline. Be like, hey, we're shutting the game down 1 year from today. If you make a purchase, that's your own fucking fault. This is a live service game. We're shutting it down. From what I understand, if I remember right, is they shut it down like 2 weeks after they stopped accepting sales or something like that. So people were buying the game up until like 2 weeks before this was announced or something like that, that's wrong, right? I would never have agreed to that. I guess we could check. Let's see here. Okay, so they did end the game months before. But how many months? So it wasn't 2 weeks, so that's good. Okay, here we go. Okay, so they gave three and a half months-ish. That's pretty short. They should have given a year. Especially, I mean, unless you were like doing like crazy sale discounts, like for instance, like the game was $5 or something like that. Now, licenses revoked is crazy. If you're gonna do this, you should probably give refunds. I'm just saying, like it, because for instance, if they ever chose to bring the crew back, it should allow people to keep, basically reactivate their game, right? But the license revoke thing only makes sense if you're going to give everyone refunds. Did they give refunds? Because if they gave refunds, then maybe no one has a leg to stand on. Yeah, fuck that. Looks like no refunds for the most part. Now, yeah, okay. So, they probably gave people refunds for... Oh, wait. Yeah, obviously people who bought the game years ago aren't going to receive a refund. But I bet you a bunch of people who bought the game within 6 months... 6 months probably did receive a refund. Yeah, no, this one makes sense from a legal standpoint. Just in general, I bet a lot of people just didn't really have a leg to stand on if they bought the game like 2 or 3 years before, especially knowing that the whole game was always a live service game. I mean, if World of Warcraft goes offline, right? What are you going to do? The World of Warcraft will still absolutely enforce their IP. No one will be able to create private servers if World of Warcraft ever goes offline. They are going to enforce their IP. They're just going to do it. I mean, it's going to happen. I don't understand how people wouldn't understand how that works. Like, they may not like it. They may not, like, that's the whole reason that fucking they shut down private servers in the first place. They can't shut them all down because a lot of them operate outside their jurisdiction. But the crew probably has no possible way to run it outside of Ubisoft or Ubisoft. God, I hate their name.
To many, this was an outrage. It essentially meant that you never owned your games to begin with. Ubisoft can just take them away. This also more
lot of
recently
games
happened
do that,
with
though.
Concord. It barely came out for a week, and then the servers were offline.
Oh, Concord was bad. That was a bad one. But that's the same reason, like Concord, didn't Concord get a bunch of refunds? I think everyone got refunds for Concord, right? And then the day before did the same thing. Everyone was given a refund. Ubisoft. Okay. Yay, it's like Bagel. Oh, hey, Lever. Everyone was wondering where you were. I think it's the time zone difference for you. Anyway, so yeah, so Ubisoft. Okay, cool. Well, I'll probably still get that wrong because I'm an idiot. Now, as for yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, okay. I don't know, I still like my stupid fucking Bagel thing.
If you bought the disc copy, you were played like an idiot. The Stop Killing Games initiative argued.
Wait, people didn't get refunds even for the disc copy of Concord? Okay, that's pretty fucked up. Actually, I kind of want to check that. Because I want to see if that was updated at some point. Okay, nope, never mind. That was updated at some point. So, obviously, you can get both physical and digital refunds for Concord. So, that may have been changed at some point. Yeah, that's all normal shit. Okay, no, yeah, okay, I don't know. That's either wrong in this video, or it was updated after the video went live. Wait, when did this video go live? July 16th? It could have been, it may have been updated after. Okay, so there's that chance. Which is fair. Definitely get
wasn't really legal.
refunds
It
for
was
that.
very weird for live service games to just shut down like that without giving players an alternative.
That's been actually happening more often. I mean, not just with the day before, not just with Concord. A lot of live service games have been kind of like doing that recently. And I don't know. Yeah, that's true. Okay, to be fair, Google's AI summary is getting better, but yeah, you're right. There's a pretty decent chance that, but I don't know in this case because it's probably from like a legitimate like potential news source. I bet you that one's most likely accurate. But we could deep dive into that to see if it actually happened. More than likely, people were too fucking lazy to attempt refunds in physical because it's a bigger hassle.
With Ross Scott on his YouTube channel saying that games as a service is fraud. One thing to note is that this initiative wasn't forcing publishers or developers to keep game servers online forever. What it simply wanted was to have a way to access these games after the servers went offline, by allowing players to host their own servers, for example.
Yeah, like I totally get this concept. Absolutely, it makes sense to have this as a concept. But the problem is a lot of the laws need to be updated because otherwise they lose access to their IP. And that's the biggest problem. Like if companies didn't risk losing access to their IP because of stupid shit like this, then this wouldn't be a problem. But because of the way a lot of the laws are written, and they were written, by the way, unfortunately, before video games were a thing. A lot of these things were kind of built for the movie and TV industry, but they just moved over into the video game industry and were never updated. The problem with that is, there's no like wiggle room. It's this or nothing, basically.
Arguing that if taking games down like this would become the norm, then way too many games would become lost.
Stop Killing Games was like meant to like combat, like attempt to change the law, right? But it's kind of one of those things where it's probably just gonna die off.
Yeah, because that's what the Crew and Concord are right now. They're essentially lost media. It was classified as a European citizens initiative in which European citizens could sign it. And if
least
it would
the EU would have a
1
chance of
million
doing this.
signatures, then it would be talked about
US
in the European
sure as fuck
Parliament.
wouldn't.
It would initially get a couple 100,000 signatures until a certain person would speak out against it in the most aggressive way possible. Of course, we're talking about our good old friend, PirateSoftware. He felt so passionate about this topic that he made 2 videos about it, very shortly after it launched in the summer of 2024. Now look, we're not going to watch the whole video. I just want to show you the first 10 seconds. Let's do this.
Hi, My name is Jason Thor Hall, also known as PirateSoftware Online. I've been in the gaming industry for about 20 years. I used to work at Blizzard Entertainment, then Amazon Game Studios, and now I own my own studio, PirateSoftware, by the same name, which is an indie studio, and I've been...
There's just something about this guy, man. I don't know. I can't explain it. Anyway,
I mean, that's just his general like intro, right? So he's basically trying to give his like credentials for why people should watch him, right? Okay. I mean, who cares? But I mean, like, I get why he's coming in with. You kind of have to start with that, right? The problem is, like everyone's going to be bashing him for it because that's the whole point of like calling him out for shit he does. Because in essence, he's still a shit fucking person, right? But, if I was coming in and had no fucking clue who he was, I would probably want to know the basic introduction about why he might be more authoritative in this specific topic.
He worked at Blizzard Entertainment for around 7 years, guys, and he vehemently opposed every single thing this initiative stood for, arguing that it would kill live service games and kill gaming in general.
I don't think it would kill gaming. I can argue for the companies in a lot of ways because they don't have a choice, just based off of how law works. But you could easily just change the law around it specifically to help fix that problem. If the companies wouldn't lose access to their IP, companies would more than likely allow people to create private servers on games that they knew they were never going to re-release or only stick in a vault. But without that, companies are stuck. They don't have a choice. They have to fight it.
Completely misunderstanding what this initiative was even about and using his massive influence, which was still present at the time, to kill it instantly. I want to be clear here. In this video, he tries his best to appear...
Look, if your own subscribers are too fucking stupid to go look around and do their own research on it and they're just listening to you, don't just listen to me. Go look it up. Go look up the law and go... There's a bunch of different versions on how this thing works in different countries. And you don't have to listen to me. You can go look it up. That's not going to kill the initiative necessarily. That's just your own viewers are too fucking stupid. Or lazy. I would say they're probably lazy. Most viewers are probably not stupid. They're just lazy. They don't have time for that shit.
Level-headed, professional even, echoing the genius that you first saw in his YouTube shorts at the end of 2023. But on his stream, oh my god, this guy was a mess. These are the very nice things
a great
you have to
video
say
for this
about
shit.
this initiative. Watch.
Nintendo and Sony in a lot of ways obsessively fight for their IP, like and Pokemon. They go fucking crazy with that shit. But they are fighting for their IP because they believe that they own every single aspect of it in the most insane ways possible. And they use those laws to their maximum, which is why they're hated in certain circles and in a lot of ways. I mean, I totally understand it.
This is actually really dumb. It's used car salesman garbage. This is shit. It's shit. Not only do I not want to back this, I'm going to actively tell people not to. That is awful. That is a horrible goddamn direction. That's awful, dude.
Hey, what's up?
Eat my entire ass.
People got me stuck on the pirate thing and the PirateSoftware video, and I'm having an entertaining time with it. Example, like a perfect example would be Atari. Atari has had massive problems early on with not protecting their IP and losing tons of shit. They lost tons of shit to not necessarily like outside sources necessarily, but they made it basically made it so they can't re-release games without having problems. And then Atari's not even really a company anymore. Like, when did they go under? Was it like decades ago? I totally forgot. But yeah, there's once basically a company stops defending their IP in any form, they have a set amount of time before it's almost entirely gets thrown into public domain. And there's no coming back from that. So companies hire aggressive legal teams to enforce their IP to the max. Because the alternative is they lose potentially a $10 million IP that they've spent so much money on that in theory could bankrupt their entire company.
that the level of stupid that I just had to receive was like sitting on Twitter for 12 hours. This
No, yeah, according to him, this is the worst thing that's ever been made by humanity. Like, this is the, like
I totally get the stop killing games movement. It makes sense from a, like, you know, a basics level, because people don't want to steal these companies' IPs. They just want to keep playing their games, right? But I also get it from the company standpoint of, if we don't enforce it, we lose our IPs. We can't, like, not do this. So, like, Pirate's obviously stupid in the fact that he's going at it in the wrong, like, way. But, I mean, I understand companies just not being able to not enforce this shit. Yeah, exactly. Atari lost control of a ton of shit, right? So, and that's like we could look into that example. That might be a great example to look into it on another video. And I like looking at the Stop Killing Games movement. I looked at it and I was like, this is interesting, but you guys got to change the law on the fundamental level before you do anything within the actual, like, space. Like, they were attacking companies for the most part with the Stop Killing Games movement, and they weren't, like, directly attacking. They were just telling companies, please don't kill our games, yada yada yada. But the reality is, if you wanted to do anything, you had to change something on the fundamental law level of whatever country you're in. And changing a copyright style law is incredibly difficult, because you also have to basically get companies involved with it that are willing to back you. And most companies are technically safer with this in place, even if they look like shit enforcing it.
Oh my god, you'd think that this is actually going to end gaming as we know it. But it's not. It's seeking to do the opposite.
shit sucks. That's a really stupid-ass move. That's an incredibly stupid-ass move. I think this is ass. This is complete garbage. All of this can eat shit then.
No, okay, so that's the thing. So the Stop Killing Games movement isn't garbage. It makes sense, right? It totally... Hey, how's it going? It totally makes sense on how the Stop Killing Games movement was intended to work. The only problem is it's not enforceable in any possible way. And Thor here, Pirate, explained it in the dumbest way possible. It was so... The way he was talking about... The way he's, like, bashing this movement is so fucking stupid. He didn't need to do it in any way. All he needed to be like was, like, companies have to enforce their IPs. That's it. That's all he needed to say.
I dropped the mask entirely.
In his very professionally level-headed video, he says this.
It's incredibly important to me that we keep making games and that the next generation has the tools to do so that our medium doesn't die out.
But that's exactly what Stop Killing Games wants to do. The
Right.
whole point of this initiative is for this medium to not die by allowing so many games to become lost media. And yet, this is what PirateSoftware was saying about this whole thing.
I think live service games getting sunsetted is fine. I've always thought that. And that's okay.
Like, I actually don't have an issue with that necessarily either. If it's in the live service game automatically, and it's going to be... Like, live service games in general will eventually shut down. That's just how they work. That's the risk of buying a live service game. You're hoping your account lasts you as long as it's worth it for you to enjoy it. But at some point, they will get shut down. And that's just kind of how it works. But I think a lot of people want to be able to create those private servers. But there's no legal framework for that.
There's nothing wrong with that.
I mean, at this point, just no comment. When he would start receiving quite a bit of backlash, of course, now there's more dislikes, but when it first released, I'd say 30% of the like to dislike ratio was dislikes. He made this pinned comment.
Guess what? YouTube doesn't give a shit if you have 200,000 downvotes and 10 upvotes. They're still going to recommend your video the same dumbass way.
Lining some points that don't really help his very aggressive
That's why do you think they
reaction that came out
removed
of
that
nowhere,
button in the
and
first
then ended
place?
it with a quotation
They don't care.
saying he won't even talk to Ross, who is the founder of Stop
Well, how many
Killing
people
Games.
actually
To which
have
he
the
replied
downvote
with,
button
correct.
now?
I think
Like,
his position is disingenuous due
one
to his
out of every
comments about how this
1,000
could
people.
be pushed through government. It's a bad direction, removes validity for what the initiative is trying to do, portrays the process in an incorrect manner, and just builds sensationalism. Thinking that kind of language is okay puts him squarely on my not worth it to talk to list, as there are others that could have a more productive conversation.
Okay. Yeah, this is a fucking crazy comment, but oh yeah, I remember the green and red bar. YouTube just doesn't give a shit. They take all fucking upvotes and downvotes as basically the same now, as far as their system works. Basically the upvote and downvote thing is only for the creator to adjust how they talk to their fans effectively. But from a view standpoint, it doesn't seem to affect it at all. One of my more popular videos has more downvotes by triple than upvotes. Yeah, they only really care about engagement. And that's why they also added the hide user from channel button. Allows people to keep saying crazy fucking shit in your channel, but no one has to see it. Except for them. Here's the thing. I get where both sides are coming from in this one. I totally get it. But Pirate is just being a fucking asshole in this one. And that's the problem.
So what he's talking about is this slide here. This one slide in the entirety of this initiative is the only reason why he refuses to talk to Ross. It says, reasons the European Citizens Initiative could pass. Politicians like easy wins. Politicians mostly don't care about video games. The law is already unclear on this practice. The initiative is in line with other consumer policies. It's a diversion from more serious topics. Now, according to Ross, this was a half-truth, half-joke slide. And I think that's how a normal...
Okay, well, I mean, part of that problem is, how do you convey sarcasm in jokes sometimes? Not everyone kind of gets it offhand. It depends if he's just looking at random clips. I think he probably watched the whole video, so I guess I can't say anything against that one, right?
Person would view it. I don't think it was tone deaf in any way, but it angered the hell out of PirateSoftware for some reason. I don't know why. Some people theorize that it's because he got close to Ludwig, and together they founded the games publisher Off-Brand Games. When the Stop Killing Games initiative came out, they were in the process of releasing a live service multiplayer game. So there was definitely some sort of a conflict of interest here. Regardless, this European Citizens Initiative had a 1-year deadline. It would be automatically closed on the 31st of July, 2025. And by the end of June, it barely had 500,000 signatures, which meant it had no hope of ever reaching 1 million.
I mean, it may not have ever reached that anyway. You can't necessarily just say that Pirate was the sole reason this thing fucking failed. I think part of the problem is it was unlikely. Well, okay, so let's say it did pass. And this is just to bring it up not informal. It's kind of like to bring it to more like a political attention level, right? Oh, there's a twist. Oh, great! I love the twist. We're gonna still wait a second though before we get into that, because I obviously like talking before we even get to those stupid fucking points that totally destroy my line of thinking. Yeah, a lot of people probably did sign it to basically go against him. Absolutely. A lot of people probably had no fucking clue about this thing. I mean, I honestly probably would have signed it just for that reason. But, that's kind of how the internet works.
This was until Accursed Farms, the channel owned by Ross Scott, would release a video titled The End of Stop Killing Games. It's an hour-long video that kind of reminds us what this initiative is about, how we got here,
should probably go
the
over this
feedback
video.
and criticism he's received, the changes he's made, and of course the majority of the video is him responding to PirateSoftware's very aggressive criticisms. Most of the clips of PirateSoftware crashing out over the Stop Killing Games initiative were actually from this video. Ross addresses every single one and ended up, whether intentional or not, making PirateSoftware look like a clown who had no idea what he was talking about. This video almost has 1 million views, and many people watched it. Some of those people...
I would actually love to go and look at this video. Obviously, it's not going to be fucking today. But... yeah, we started the stream at 11. And now, to be fair, I took 2 half-hour breaks, so we can do longer streams, definitely, if I take more breaks.
Happen to be way bigger content creators than PirateSoftware, and seeing that this very important initiative was very close to failure, tried their best to bring as many people as possible to
They can
sign
restart
it.
the
For
initiative.
example, Moist Critical talked about it in his videos at over 3.
Maybe if they'd adjust the scope of the project a bit, maybe that would be a better way to do it. Like I totally get the fucking concept of doing it this way, or of having a Stop Killing Games movement. I totally fucking get it. It makes total sense on how you would want to do it. I just don't think it's like feasibly possible.
5 million views. Hell, even Jacksepticeye talked about it on his second channel, and the video's sitting at over 1 million views. People understood that this initiative wasn't just a good thing for video games. It was integral to ensure its survival for the future. Hell, even Minecraft creator Notch had something to say about it, tweeting, "Hey guys, just got back to gaming after a brief break. Wait, why is there a Nepo baby doubling down over there?" Adding, "If buying a game is not a purchase, then pirating them is not theft."
That's also potentially
this
true.
Truly solidified.
So now that's an interesting concept. If you buy a game and you don't own it, I guess if you steal a game, you also potentially don't own it. That's an interesting jump there. I don't know if you could prove that in court, but you would at least have a chance, right?
At the position of PirateSoftware in the Hall of Fame of lolcows. It was undeniable at this point. His stupidity had made an entire movement succeed, just purely on the basis of him being so unaware of what was going on. He lacked the most basic form of self-awareness. And thanks to that, the Stop Killing Games initiative not only reached 1 million signatures, but is currently at over 1.3 million in overdrive. About to reach 1.4 million any time now. With the
I guess the question is, did this actually do anything? So, glad it hit the million. I want to see if it actually has done anything specific, though. I guess it would be news, probably, right? Okay, so like, let's say the petition succeeded, right? Okay, so there's a hearing on it. So that was from 4 weeks ago. But the question is, will it actually accomplish anything? Now, the big thing is, I guess it accomplished the fact that it's going to force a public hearing of some sort, right? At least in the EU. Obviously, I doubt the US gives a fucking crap. But the problem with the US, like, I could see it making a difference potentially if you can get a law to change in Europe. Awesome. But, and I could actually see a law being changed in Europe. That's the thing. Like, especially with how they do privacy laws and things. I could actually see it potentially working there. I don't think it could fucking work in the US, though. Companies in the US are way too fucking powerful. And I doubt... Yeah, see, if AAA publishers speak out against Stop Killing Games in any way, I fucking doubt anything will happen, especially in the US in that category. Maybe they could be forced to to keep servers open in Europe. But okay, so yeah, you're right. It brings it to the table in Europe potentially, but I don't think it would ever bring it to the table in the US, at least currently. It would have to be game companies that bring it to the table. And I doubt they would ever care. Unfortunately, it just doesn't seem like something they would give a shit about, which is unfortunate. But we'll see. Let's see how it plays out over the next year. I will be interested in it. I still don't think they're gonna succeed, just for the fact that, just based off of how, and now maybe there's a different rule in the UK on how IPs work. But the thing is, a lot of these AAA companies, and some of them are definitely, European based, but a lot of these companies are US based. So they're going to be defaulting to their laws, right? The US laws in general, right? Because they're going to be like, well, it's a live service game here in the US. And, they're going to kind of default to US laws on that. Even if they have a server in Europe, they're going to basically just claim, well, it's our US based game. we're not going to be, they're just going to be like, well, we just won't, have it active in the UK or not UK, just in Europe in general, right? That's where I think they're going to run into some problems. Even if they do get the law changed in Europe, they're just going to make loopholes. The US companies will find loophole after loophole to get around that shit. So I will be very interested if anything changes in the next 2 years. Just say it.
The UK petition reaching double the signatures required. You even had a vice president of the European Parliament voicing support for this initiative and signing the petition himself while urging other Europeans to do the same.
Okay, that's great. So they might actually look into it on the European side. I still think they're going to have issues with it, even if it just gets to the, discussion level. I will be very, someone come and find me when this fucking passes in Europe and be like, you were fucking wrong. Come tell me that. I will love to hear that, because I would love to hear me being wrong in this case, because it would be great if you could force companies to effectively make solo versions. I would love that, but I just don't think it's viable.
This initiative gained so much
I can't wait to be
traction
wrong
that
for
a
this
publisher
one, though.
group full of the biggest publishers on the planet, including EA and Ubisoft, for example, responded saying that these proposals would curtail developer choice and that it was unsustainable and unfeasible. In other words, they were very scared that this could actually pass.
Well, I mean, I don't think they're scared. I think they just want to save money. The whole point is for them to save fucking money. That's it.
Being a gamer myself, I wish this initiative the best of luck in Parliament, and I truly hope it passes. When I buy a digital game, I'd like to know that I actually own it and that it won't be taken away from me at any given moment. But while this initiative was gaining
okay, so let's say you have a solo, single-player version of the game. If someone is able to revoke your single-player license, yeah, that's fucked up. But that's the problem I have with live service games.
Attention, PirateSoftware, on the other hand, was gaining all the negative attention.
I'm going to get a lot of downvotes
bleeding
for this
over
video.
10,000 subscribers daily on his YouTube channel and has currently lost a massive chunk of his viewership on Twitch. I mean, look, I'm losing. I mean, look at this, minus 50,000 just in July.
Yeah, I mean, that's less of an issue, I think. I think a lot of people are losing followers because they keep getting hit with bot shit. Like, for instance, my own channel got hit with a bot thing in the last day or the last week or something. We have 100 fucking bot followers on my account. I got hit with someone somewhere, or a bot somewhere gave my channel 100 followers. But you can obviously tell they're bots if you actually look at the names. They're complete nonsense gibberish. They've been active for 1 day type of thing. And I'm like, well, those are all going to fall off. But a lot of people got hit with, recently in the last month, all those people that were view botting, remember? There was a channel called, Mira or something, and her, view count went like this. Straight to the fucking ground. Because she was, view botting all her shit, and I think they were running, 27 ads an hour, which is insane. It was 27 minutes of ads an hour. I was like, yeah, that's got to be advertisement fraud, right? So I don't know. I mean, his channel's still doing fine, but it's not like he's dead.
Additionally, this renewed scrutiny has prompted many YouTubers like Coding Jesus and Slop News Network to analyze the code
I heard
that
his
he
code
writes
is shit,
on stream, concluding that a child, a literal toddler, can probably do a better job.
I don't know about that. I would say, I mean, look, if this game is working, it's still better than a massive chunk of people who attempt to make a game and fail. The problem with Coding Jesus and a lot of other coders on YouTube is they are fucking top of their game shit.
Seriously, this is the gift that keeps on giving. Because, of course, instead of just apologizing, taking a step back, taking the L for once, admitting you made a mistake, maybe taking some advice that Dr. K gave you, he would triple down or quadruple down. I guess I can't even keep track at this point, and make this post saying the most interesting narrative is that my video somehow killed the initiative. This graph shows that the...
Well, that doesn't make sense because it did the opposite of that. Okay, at this point, this would have been a perfect time for him to never say anything about stop killing games. He should have just said his piece, said that he hated everything about it and then just fucking ignored it. But no, he posted this, and this was stupid, okay?
Initiative already had a downward trend in interest when my videos dropped. My videos do not seem to have had any impact on the movement at all. Making me the villain did though. Best of luck with your next steps. So at this point, I can't help but be impressed how much he's willing to die on hills that don't matter. People aren't even tracking cumulative signatures and daily signatures. They just understood that this initiative is worth fighting for, it's very important for the longevity of games as a medium, and that you, with your massive platform, not only criticized it very aggressively.
Oh yeah, like Logan Paul, or not maybe it wasn't Logan Paul. Jake Paul? I think it's Jake Paul. Actually, probably both of them, right? A lot of streamers have done horrible, well, I don't even know if they're streamers. They're more really YouTubers, right? But tons of streamers, YouTubers, whatever, have done horribly stupid shit, and they're still around because they have, loyal fans who just want to watch their shit, even if it's garbage. Right? Well, actually, yeah, so in fact, it did have an impact in the opposite direction, potentially, right? So maybe he was played the long game,
Aggressively thinking that this was going to be an easy win.
You know what would have been really funny is if he came back, he's like, see, I just made everyone fucking hate me to prove that you guys should support Stop Killing Games. That would have been fucking hilarious. Imagine if he backtracked on it, but still said that, it was all in his plan the whole time. That would have been the funniest shit ever. Unfortunately, I don't think he thought that far ahead.
That made you out to be a genius, but urged all your audience, all your strong community to not sign it when they were telling you to sign it initially. That's how you even found out about the initiative. He would then later tweet this, saying, I am no longer working at Off-Brand Games. People were attacking all of the games we were publishing and trying to mass review bomb them. You can dislike the things I say, but this kind of behavior is unhinged. Learned a lot there, accomplished a lot, hope they succeed regardless.
I mean, at that point, he basically had to step down or he was going to destroy that company. It was definitely good of him to come out, though, and say that, he's no longer working there. Because he may have been required to, depending on how the game, how his contract with them worked, right? Even if he was a co-founder, at that point, you kind of have to take a step back.
Regardless, loved those dudes and loved working with them. Hope they keep cooking. Ludwig would reply to this, saying, Stop Killing Games is a good initiative, but a few bad actors review bombed / harassed developers of the games we support at Off-Brand Games. Appreciate Thor stepping down for the better.
Didn't Ludwig get into some controversy as well? I swear everyone at some point, right? Can't wait for my dumbass controversy, whatever that is. I think the majority of it is it's going to be disagreeing with Stop Killing Games, being maybe a devil's advocate for Cinder in some way. Saying crazy I don't know what's some stuff that a lot of people did not like my Xbox Live going to from $20 to $30. Which is fair.
Of the devs and their games, to which she would get community noted. The note said, Rivals of Either 2 has not been review bombed. Verifying this is as easy as opening the Steam page and looking at the graph
too
of
far
reviews. And if we go to the game, scroll down, and look at the graph that shows review trends, we can very clearly see that there's no review bombing going on. If anything, there's positive bombing. Look at all these positive reviews in June.
That could actually be bots. Oh, yeah, okay, the Aqua video. That was pretty funny, okay? People were definitely mad at that one. Yep, a lot of people were mad at my take on the Illuminati situation with Illuminati, Oz Media and stuff like that, because I went in with the assumption that even if Illuminati is a crazy bitch, from a legal standpoint, she was probably in the right.
But hey, anything to be the victim, right? In fact, the guy became such a victim that I think he started losing his mind. He started comparing his current situation with the Stop Killing Games initiative to Coney 2012. I mean, dude, no, I'm sorry. This is a full...
Okay, that's fucking funny. and really fucking stupid. We actually watched the Cody 2012 video from the Internet Historian. It was the funniest shit ever.
Fledged, fully developed, and evolved lolcow. There's no way you can say this while being self-aware. It's impossible. And after months of complaining about people brigading and harassing him, he does the same exact thing to Coding Jesus. He would leave a comment on his code review video and would then link his comment to his chat so that they can go upvote it in an effort to ratio the video itself. Like, how petty is that? Come on, man.
You make a link to it? You have to click on the little 6 hours edited? Aha! So that doesn't seem to do it? Oh, do I have to right-click on this and then copy link address? And then do that?
So?
Is that what does this? It does highlighted comment. There we go. Boop. There's my comment on it.
So he was having his chat go upvote a comment he made. Is that what was going on? I mean, hey, if you're going to use your chat for something, you might as well use it for that.
Enjoy. And I also have a whole argument with a whole bunch of people in the replies in there so they can see what's going on with it. I talked them through the entire thing of
stupid,
why
but
I did
still
that all in
funny.
an array, because that is not normal practice to do that, and it's specifically so that you guys can reverse engineer the game and solve the ARG. Sometimes doing bad practice has meaning, which is...
Whatever, man. He later deleted this VOD because this literally breaks YouTube TOS. This breaks every aspect of terms of service when it comes to brigading and harassment. I mean,
yeah, I'm like, that part is weird. I'm like, that makes sense for deleting that VOD.
At this point, can this get any worse? Yes.
Yes?
He'd be asked about his opinion when it comes to Stop Killing Games finally reaching 1 million signatures.
Okay. The problem, though, with Dexerto, at least from my standpoint, is they tend to release shit without checking anything, like, a lot. Don't these guys, like, have a horrible fucking track record of, like, writing insane stories without checking any of the data and then double backing on it after all that shit has dropped?
He said, I'm going to be honest with you. I hope that your initiative gets everything that you asked for, but nothing you wanted.
Yeah, so, like, the problem from this company is, you know, I don't know if I trust them in any way, but then again, I don't know if I trust Pirate in any way.
And I'll leave it there. See, if I was 12 years old, I would have probably thought this was really cool, but now it's just edgy beyond cringe. But listen, as much as this was a ridiculous roller coaster ride on the Lolcow Express, someone did end up asking him, hey man, would you consider making an apology video, setting everything straight? Because you know what? This is still salvageable. You can still redeem yourself. And
apology videos don't ever fucking work. Ever. Maybe it was like a bad, like, cultural fuck up, you know, like if you go to a different country and you do something accidentally, not on purpose, but accidentally, and then you apologize that way. But, like, I don't know of, like, 99% of apology videos that have done jack shit. Why bother? Just be like, nah, I'm not gonna do an apology video. But you should apologize. Why? I don't give a fuck. And that's the thing. You know, if you don't care, why apologize for something? He doesn't give a shit.
Here's what he had to say.
Put up a video saying you were wrong with every situation and the internet move on. I am not
doesn't
doing
believe that, though.
I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, he doesn't care. Why would he apologize? If he truly believes that he's not wrong, he's not
simply
going to
bend the knee
apologize.
and lie about how you feel, and everyone will stop bullying you. That's a great idea, dude. Yeah, no, eat shit.
This guy is so hopeless, man.
I may be like me apologizing for my fucking video on Aqua, right? A lot of people didn't like that specifically, but I still think Aqua was wrong in the way she handled and it was nonsense drama. It didn't matter. I still think she was wrong, but I'm not going to apologize for that. You can just download vote the video and don't watch it. Move on.
Now, I will say this because I'm sure this will appear in the comments. Yes, I'm aware that PirateSoftware is a massive furry, and I'm also aware that he was legally married to someone, and during that marriage, he got in contact with one of the Kickstarter backers of Earthbound, the game he's working on, and started a very inappropriate 18-plus relationship with them while being married.
Okay.
Yes, he committed adultery. The reason why I didn't mention this in the video is because it doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things. If he had,
I mean, he could also have an open relationship for all we fucking know. We don't. Does it matter? and she could have divorced him, or he, or whoever his partner was. I don't know. I don't know enough info on that
Just
one at all.
apologize during the WoW Classic incident. This coming out wouldn't have done anything to him, because guess what? Most of these messages involved 18 plus roleplay, but more specifically furry roleplay. Yes, they would literally say to themselves, pets you, nuzzles you, plays with your tail, and then get, more 18 plus into it. Yes, most people couldn't even read one page of chat logs because of how cringy it is. So
yeah, I doubt that. I bet you a lot of fucking people would have read that shit. They're just not going to admit to it live. I can fucking guarantee you a bunch of people are like, oh no, I would never be able to do that. It's way too cringy. And then in the side, they'd be looking down at their phone, just like reading through it for like an hour. Oh, sorry, I wasn't cheating on anything, I swear.
I'm so convinced it wouldn't have done anything to his reputation. It's meaningless to talk about. But if you're interested, you can check out this video by Fearful Tears titled PirateSoftware, the most delusional Twitch streamer. Look, PirateSoftware is a lesson not just in content creation, but in quite literally anything. Normal people make mistakes, and geniuses make mistakes too. We're all human. Admitting that you make a mistake isn't you admitting that you have a weakness. No, on the contrary, never admitting that you're wrong is a weakness.
A lot of people didn't like the Aqua video because I bashed Aqua in a lot of different ways, and that's fine. And I knew people were not going to like that video, but I still believe, she handled it in the stupid way possible on, from my perspective. Now, a lot of my reaction videos, a lot of people say the same shit to me.
In itself, because it shows how insecure
because I just don't stop
how
fucking
fragile
talking.
of an ego you have, and it'll only make people want to avoid you. I mean, what's the point? PirateSoftware is the stupid person's definition of a genius, and he managed to ride that wave for a little while. But now the party's over, and he only has himself to blame. He'll still...
I mean, but he's still making easily 15 grand a month, maybe more. So, I mean, I guess it depends on what people consider success. Like, do you automatically lose everything if you go from making 100 grand a month to $15,000 a month? I don't think so. You just may lose access to not being able to buy a Lamborghini every month. I mean...
He'll be a content creator, he'll still have a sizable audience, but he'll never be able to touch the sky like he did at the end of 2023. And they're never coming back unless he finally humbles his dumbass. Anyway, thank you so much for watching the entire video up until the end.
I doubt he will ever say any sort of apology of any kind unless he drops below an income level that he's not comfortable with. And that's kind of all there is to it. I think a lot of streamers, YouTube content creators, any really content creator of any size or whatever, will never apologize for something if it's not their source of income. Like, for instance, you can use me as an example in a lot of my dumbass fucking takes, because I've got a lot of stupid takes, and I know a lot of people are potentially going to bash me in YouTube for my take on the Stop Killing Games, because it's not as harsh as his, but I understand it from more of a legal standpoint on how companies are forced to basically defend their IP or they lose it, right? And I understand the Stop Killing Games movement is to change the law on a fundamental level. I just don't think it's going to do anything in most cases. I know it for a fact AAA games are not going to allow that to be pushed through in the US. You might be able to force it through in Europe, possibly. They would be the only ones to have a chance. But I totally get where, a lot of people would be mad. But the thing is, if I required this to make sure my house was paid off, I would be doing totally different videos. I would be pandering to everyone I came across because it would be an income stream that I would need, or I could be homeless. Pirate's at the point where, unless he's like spending money like water running through, fucking like Civ, he likely is already set for life. It'd be like Asmongold. totally set for life. He could be completely 100% canceled tomorrow, and I bet you he'd still upload videos with no ad revenue active on, any of his channels. He would just keep recreating accounts with VPNs, and he would probably still keep creating shit. Because it doesn't matter. Ludahar, for instance, perfect example exactly of this is his dumbass fucking engineer thing, right? Ludahar destroyed his entire career by lying about being an engineer. Well, I mean, Canada didn't give a shit because they even came back and they're like, yeah, he's not using his YouTube career to actually promote like a service of sorts, so we don't give a fucking crap. And his apology video is like, yeah, okay, maybe I didn't actually graduate from college, my bad. But I've done tech stuff. I know a lot about the tech stuff, and yeah, I've called myself a software engineer, and I don't give a fuck. And I'm like, sure, you're going to lose subscribers from that, but overall, in general, it's only going to be like a temporary thing for most people. Will Pirate continue to hemorrhage viewers? Probably. But probably not much more. And can he come back from this? Absolutely. You want to know why? Because people forget relatively quickly. And he just needs to pull in new people who don't know any of this drama. And then he also and it's not that hard to do that necessarily, because a lot of people will watch you and then be like, yeah, I don't care about past drama. And they just they'll just ignore it. It'll just take a few months. In his case, I could see him recovering about half his current viewer and subscribership in the next, I don't know, maybe 6 months. He's already big enough to where it's not going to have any major effect, I don't think. And he's still earning insane amounts of money. But, that's my dumbass take on it.
Really appreciate it. And I'll see you in the next video fairly soon. Yeah, I love you so much. Mwah.